Here. Chairman, you have one.
Excellent, thank you. Moving on to our disclaimer.
All post commissioners have previously agreed to recuse themselves from any vote that would constitute a conflict of interest.
Okay.
The most obvious of these would include issues that involve our own departments or some we know personally. Because we have already agreed to this, it should be noted that on routine matters, it will be assumed non-verbally that these commissioners have abstained from that vote. In bigger, more controversial issues that may have a more overt conflict of interest and may have an appearance of impropriety, those applicable commissioners will still verbally abstain from those votes.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to our next item, approval of minutes from the January 16th commission meeting. We have a motion to accept.
Commissioner Green, motion to accept.
We have a second. Second. Motion to accept by Green, second by Parker. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to our report of decertification subcommittee hearings held yesterday, February 19th.
Yesterday, in the matter of Gary Edwards of the Irwin Police Department, the recommendations of default order of decertification. In the matter of Jimmy Tilson of the Irwin Police Department, recommendations default order of decertification. In the matter of Isabella Diaz-Pasito of Johnson City Police Department, that was reset until March. Matter of Nigel Bond of the Memphis Police Department, recommendation was default order of decertification. Matter of Dennis Parker of the Memphis Police Department, recommendation was default order of decertification. Matter of Todd Doris of the Milledgeville Police Department, that was continued until March pending a signed green order suspension. In the matter of Benjamin Gilkey of the New Bern Police Department, that was also reset to March.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a motion to accept the report?
Motion to accept.
Second. We have a motion by Commissioner Parker, second by Commissioner Lane. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to pre-employment requirements.
Matter of Dyersburg State Community College Police Department, they request a military discharge waiver for Richard Allen Moppins, hired December 15th of 2025. In August of 1998, Mr. Moppins was discharged from the U.S. Marine Corps with uncharacterized discharge due to a defective and induction fraudulent enlistment. Anybody here from Dyersburg? Or you would just identify yourself for the record, please.
Richard Mobbins.
All right, and who's with you from the agency?
Jordan was on the chief. Dyersburg State.
Go ahead and tell us a little about the waiver today.
This is something that fell through the cracks apparently. I've been working as a certified officer in the state of Tennessee for 20 years. I transferred from Arkansas where I went to the academy. And I went into the police department for about a year and a half. They had my paperwork. I was new to Tennessee. I had no idea what a waiver was back then. So whatever happened back then, it never happened. Small towns, I'm sure some of you know, I went from Henning to Halls. The two chiefs knew each other. They basically just took my personnel file, carried it over to the next one. So if there was never everything done in the first department, then it just continued. And I was with Halls for 17 years. So it's just something I got overlooked.
Commissioner Wilbur, I have a question. What is this fraudulent enlistment? What does that mean?
I don't know.
Do you have an honorable discharge?
It's uncharacterized for entry. So entry level, it's what they give to those that are in boot camp. They don't finish boot camp.
Thank you.
Anything else, Lee?
I think that pretty well covers it. Fraudulent enlistment is sort of just, it's an umbrella that sometimes includes someone who, it was the wrong age, either by intentionally or negligence, somehow enlisted, but essentially uncharacterized discharge is one of the discharges that people consider waiver. So,
Commissioner Green.
add to that.
This Commissioner Green, have you attended a police academy?
Yes.
When did you,
In Arkansas back in 2003.
but not in Tennessee?
No, I came here and challenged the post test and passed back in 2004.
And then I'm looking at your application and it said where you applied for Halls that you did not have military service. At least you checked the box, military service, no. When you were, at least temporarily, with the military.
Yes, sir. I can't tell you how that conversation went back then. It's been so long ago. I can tell you what I was told in my separation barracks at boot camp, that we drilled in our heads that we did not serve. I mean, the technicality, we were there, I guess the age of 14 establishes that we did. But we were told that, I guess it was basically not to go out here and try to get any benefits or special privileges. They said you did not serve, you're not a Marine. But they also stressed to hold on to the DD 214 because it may be of importance in our future, so. Kept a copy filed away just in case, and I've given it to every department that I've been to.
So Halls had it when you went to work for the Halls Police Department?
They should have, that's the one department I did not physically hand it to, because they pulled my file from Henning, it should have been in my Henning file. When I was hired in the halls, I wasn't asked for anything. Like I said, those two chiefs knew each other pretty well. They knew each other well enough that when I was hired from Henning to halls, my employment was delayed by about 3 weeks because Henning was shorthanded, and I had agreed to stay home long enough. Just so everybody could, fill some positions. They were, I don't know if they went to high school together or what. So when I transferred, I don't remember giving them anything. They just took my personnel file over. I think back then they even accepted my psych and my physical because there was no break in service. I didn't have to do anything, but just go to work at a new place.
Looking at your DD 214, it looks like your net time in service was 1 month and 7 days at basic training.
Yes, sir. I feel like it might have been a little longer than that. But I was there for, I don't think they count the separation, which was almost 2 weeks. And I was in a quarantine for E. coli, which was about a little over a week.
And then your instructors there had told you were not serving, not active, but I guess on paper, you did have a military service.
Yes, sir. Like I said, they were very adamant. In separations, you didn't do nothing but busy work until it was time to ship out. But what little time that they did get with us, I'm assuming all these years of my age now, I know that there are people out there will take their service, no matter how short it is, and use it to their advantage. They drilled it. They said, "You did not serve. You are not a Marine."
Understand. Tell me about your service here in Tennessee, since you believe you started at Halls, and where have you been since?
I was Henning from 04 to 05. I was in Halls from 05 to 15. I got out of law enforcement for 3 years. I was a consultant, credit card security consultant for a little while. I come back to Halls. I was there until last October. Since then, I've been with Douglas State.
Any issues with your personnel record or anything like that?
No.
Anybody else have any questions or will entertain a motion?
Got a question.
Commissioner Doggett.
Mr. Doggett, so the amount of time that you served in the military, you didn't have to disclose that time anywhere?
Oh, but I did. I've never kept it from any department that I've been to.
This Hall's PD application shows a box you checked, military service, it's checked no.
Yes, sir. Like I said, I don't remember how that conversation went. I may have checked it because I was told just from the military that I did not serve. But they did have a copy of my DD 14. I believe there's still a copy to this day at Hall somewhere. With me being there, leaving and coming back. Hall's is a small town. They're still running paper files. There's nothing really backed up. So it's, and Henning has since the department has opened and closed and opened and closed, and finding records there is almost impossible.
Can I say something?
Sure. Go ahead, Chief.
When I submitted the application, of course, I submitted the DD 214. Of course, it got sent back and said, there was 2 other previous applications that did not have any military history. I contacted Richard. He assured me that he had turned that in, and I don't believe he would have turned it in to me if he was going to try to deceive us. We did do a full background check. I spoke with several of his references, and then I found some references on my own. TBR did a full background check. There was nothing found in any of his history.
Thank you, Chief.
Commissioner Green, I have one question. How long was your break in service for law enforcement?
Just short of 3 years.
Before you went back, because you said you were a security consultant somewhere?
Yes, I was a credit card security consultant in Memphis, or a farm in Memphis.
And that period was for a little less than 3 years.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion or motion?
Commissioner Lane, a motion to approve the waiver.
Commissioner Jeffers, second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Land, a second by Commissioner Jeffers to approve. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Congratulations, sir. You've got your waiver. Best of luck.
Thank y'all.
Sir. Moving on to Rome County.
The Rome County Sheriff's Office requested military discharge rate for April Brashear Powell, hired January 7th of 2026. In January 2020, Ms. Powell was discharged from the U.S. Navy with the general under honorable conditions due to a medical condition. Good morning. If you just identify yourself for the record, please.
April Powell.
And who do you have with you today?
Tim Bond, I'm Chief Deputy, Rome County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, Ms. Powell, is there anything you'd like to share with the commission?
The medical discharge was, I have extra calcium in my bones and it didn't affect me now, it didn't affect me then. I was a quartermaster in the Navy. It's something on the ship they don't allow, and I was a shipwright, so it was, I had to get out.
Since you had something to do with calcium on your bones, is the reason you got out. Why does your letter here say you had PTSD?
That was just from an incident from deployment. Just deployment.
Or which is it, bones or PTSD?
It's both of them, but I don't struggle with PTSD.
Have you had your psychological examination for,
Yes, sir.
you have, what was that ruling?
I passed it, white nose.
Any other discussion, questions? Not will entertain a motion.
Commissioner Jeffers, I'll make a motion to accept.
Wilbur, second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jeffers, a second by Commissioner Wilbur to accept. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, the Tennessee Alcoholic Beverage Commission requested criminal record waiver for Graham Bennett Sawyer. In October 2018, Mr. Sawyer was discharged with DUI in Williamson County. In February of 2019, Mr. Sawyer was found guilty of the charge and has since satisfied all court order sentencing fines and fees.
I'm Graham Sawyer.
Ron Tubbs, Chief Law Enforcement Officer, Agency.
Thank you. All right, sir, what can you tell us about that evening or that night you were arrested?
I was in a bad way for a long time with alcohol, and it finally caught up to me, form of a DUI. I have since been through a alcohol treatment program and haven't had a drink in almost 7 years. It'll be 7 years in April. I learned a lot from that experience, just the fact that you can get off on the wrong path and you can still find your way back. That's one of the things I've learned from my 4 years at the ABC. Yes, sir.
So what have you been doing for the last 4 years at ABC?
I was an RO, so it's a regulatory officer, kind of a step below a special agent. And they took away the requirement of having to have a bachelor's degree to become an agent last fall. And I moved up to that agent position.
And what was your BAC whenever you were arrested?
It was 0.22, I think.
Was anyone injured in the crash?
No, sir.
Were you the only occupant?
Yes, sir.
Were you in your drinking habits now?
0.
Says here since 2019.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations, that's quite an accomplishment.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions by the commission?
Commissioner Parker, Chief, alcohol regulatory agency, what's this gonna do with record of this employee as far as regulatory on enforcement on liquor stores and whatnot, somebody with an alcohol problem being exposed to being alcohol enforcement, so to speak?
You asking me, sir?
Yes, sir.
You know, he's, for the last 4 years, he's been exposed to that environment, to the bars. He's stationed here in Nashville. So Broadway, he's been exposed to all that. Liquor stores, he's in those establishments every day.
Thank you.
Any other questions or motion?
Motion to approve.
Carter, sir.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Parker, a second by Commissioner Carter. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Congratulations, sir. Best of luck.
The Union County Sheriff's Office requested a criminal record waiver for Justo Gary Capacete. Hired,
Sir.
How are you doing? Hired December 15th, 2025. In June of 1994, he was charged with DUI in Orange County, California. He was placed an informal probation period for 3 years to satisfy all court-ordered sentencing fines and fees.
Who do we have with us today?
My name is Justo Capacity, and this is my background investigator, Detective Philip King.
All right. What can you tell us about the incident in 1994?
Well, sir, senior year in high school, graduation night, my idiot person went out and started celebrating with friends. Spent 8 hours in the holding facility at the Orange County Sheriff's Department. Pretty embarrassing. Captain of my baseball team, through high school. But since then, I joined the Sheriff's Department, retired as a Santa police officer in California, did 27 years doing God's work in Southern California, retired as a homicide detective my last 9 years. August 1st, 2025, came to this beautiful state, retired, and then 6 months in retirement, met some good people down in Union County Sheriff's Department, decided to join the continue to do God's work out here in Tennessee. And here I am in front of all you guys trying to hopefully get a waiver for this incident that happened back in 1994.
Commissioner Wilbur, what are your drinking habits now?
Just casual drinking with my wife, family, friends.
Commissioner Beverly, I guess, did they do a breathalyzer at the time?
Yes, they did, sir.
What was your result?
0.08.
But in California, and due to the fact you were under 21,
That's right, sir.
otherwise it would have been the legal limit, correct?
Yes, sir.
No problems with the law since then?
No, sir. Been a TFO. Had a marvelous career. Retired. Enjoying life out here and just trying to continue doing work out here in Tennessee now, sir.
California has approved, granted your waiver, I take it as well?
Yes,
To
sir.
work out there?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Green, motion to approve.
Commissioner Jackson, second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Green, a second by Commissioner Jackson. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's have it. Congratulations and welcome.
Thanks, guys.
Moving on to our waiver to attend another academy.
The Mount Juliet Police Department requests a waiver to change academies for Melissa Young, hired on January 5th, 2026. In July of 2017, Ms. Young attended the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, but did not complete due to an injury. We're requesting a waiver so that she can attend Walter State in April. Good morning. If you just identify yourself for the record, please.
My name is Melissa Young.
All right, who do you have with you?
Lieutenant Scott Fulton, Mount Juliet Police Department.
Thank you.
All right, so I guess, tell us about what happened at Toledo.
It was during the Physical Tactics Week. We were doing a drill on unarming a suspect that had a gun to your back. My partner we practiced it several times and she went a little heavy, coming around with the hammer fist, and it landed right on my shoulder, which separated my SC.
I hope you've recovered from that. It doesn't sound fun.
Almost 2 years ago. Sorry.
You excited to be back?
Very.
Any questions by the commission or motion?
Please, sir, I might have to recuse myself, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Leggett, second by Commissioner Lane. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, just note Commissioner Carter's abstention. All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the next three, I'm gonna have to recuse myself on.
All right. Duly noted.
All right, Scott County Sheriff's Office request a waiver to change academies for Ms. Black. In September of 2023, Ms. Black attended the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, but did not complete due to family obligations. They're requesting a waiver so she can attend Cleveland State in September of 2026. She also needs a 6-month waiver due to the academy start date.
Do you want to take that waiver at the same time, or
You can do it once, yes.
do we have anybody from Scott County online?
Yes, this is Janae Black.
All right, so what can you tell us about what happened, why you wanted to change? It seems you got some, family had some health issues.
Yeah, so I left the academy that night due to my husband had sent me a message as soon as I got back to the dorm that he was leaving, and I had no support system back then. So I had to leave that night to go get my kids. The reason for another academy, 2 out of 3 of my children have a heart condition, and their hospital with their doctors is in Knoxville, so it's only an hour from Cleveland versus 2.5 hours from Toledo.
Understand. Are you already enrolled in Cleveland State's Academy and ready to go, or is that?
I have filled out the application and it was approved. I'm just waiting to get everything from my psych eval and everything sent in there, and I'm all set for the September class.
Good to hear. Anybody else on the commission have questions?
Motion to approve.
Is that also a motion to approve the waiver for 6 months?
Granted.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Parton. Second by Commissioner Leggins. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with an abstention from Commissioner Jeffers. Congratulations.
All right, Scott County, moving along to Randall Alexander Brooks. In January of 2025, Mr. Brooks attended the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, but did not complete due to a family medical emergency. The agency is requesting a waiver so he can attend Cleveland State in April of 2026.
Great. Are we good, Scott County, are we good to go with the application for Mr. Brooks?
Yes, sir.
I see it was a family emergency. He's good to go now. Anybody have questions on the commission?
Motion to approve, pardon.
Commissioner Green, second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Parton, second by Commissioner Green. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes carried with an abstention from Commissioner Jeffers. Moving on to Scott County for Ms. Smith.
They're requesting waiver to change academies for Shelby Smith, hired March 24th, 2025. In 2026, she attended the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, but did not complete due to family obligations. They're requesting waivers so she may attend Cleveland State in May of 2026.
Ms. Smith, are you online? Scott County still on.
Commissioner Green, motion to approve.
Pardon, second.
We have a motion approved by Commissioner Green, second by Commissioner Parton. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to UT Memphis Police.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to abstain.
Thank you.
The UT Memphis Police Department requests waiver to change academies for Jalen Terrell Johnson, and hired August 25th, 2025. September 2025, Mr. Johnson attended the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, but did not complete due to a violation of conduct. The agency is requesting the waiver so Mr. Johnson may attend Memphis Police Department Training Academy in February 2026.
Anybody online from University of Tennessee at Memphis?
Yes, Captain Morrow and Jalen Johnson is present.
Mr. Johnson, what looks like you had live ammo in the room?
Yes. He answered him.
Yes, sir.
You learned your lesson on this?
Yes, sir, I have. I took accountability.
All right. Anything to add on that?
No, Mr. Terrell did finally eventually take accountability for what he had done and understood the gravity of the situation. And we would accept it back had the agency decided to send him back to another class. That's legal.
Thank you.
Part of the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Parton, second by Commissioner Leggins. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? An abstention by Commissioner Lane. Congratulations, sir. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Moving on to waivers of in-service.
The Hardin County Sheriff's Office requested waiver in service for Seamus Lewis, hired September 1st, 2023. Mr. Lewis did not complete the required training for 2025 due to a domestic assault charge that has been dismissed as of April 2025. The waiver will allow the agency and the officer to remain in compliance with post rules.
Anybody online from Hardin County?
Yes, Training Director Matt Terry with Hardin County Sheriff's Office.
Gotcha. So has this charge been dismissed or is it still pending? It says next court date was in January of 26.
Can we back up? What domestic assault did y'all reference? About the one being expunged? He had that one. His current one, because he was charged again with domestic assault and aggravated assault. Back in July 30th. Incident date, I think, was June 30th. He was officially charged July 30th with that. His court case, he's turned down every plea deal. So his next court appearance is going to be with the grand jury, and that meets March 6, 2026.
Sheriff's Department need to reschedule that for appearance in person next budget.
And to be honest, I don't know. I have been told that his employment here will be terminated. I don't think he has a future here. I don't know why he's still here now, but
I think we all share in that same question. It has been requested by a commissioner to have you guys appear in person, I believe. If he's still employed with you guys, do we want to roll this to the next month? Or
We can, absolutely.
Commissioner Jeffries, I would, I'd like to try to move for decertification on this and, have a conversation about this one a little bit more, but this is a touch money.
That's stupid. Hardin County, can you hear me?
Yes.
Would you have a conversation with our sheriff? You get off of here and highly suggesting him to fill out some paperwork to send up here to the post commission with, that may need to be done.
You meaning like decertification?
Yeah, you said your words, not mine. So,
I'm with you. I don't know why he's been allowed to stay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's, I guess to get
Service waiver to March.
move the service waiver to March, or do we want to
The
address the
court date
waiver?
is the 27th. I would move it to April's agenda.
We can do that.
Thank you, Hardin
My
County.
suggestion.
So do we have a motion to move this to April?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Parton, second by Commissioner Green to move this to April. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. I imagine we'll be looking for some packet of paper to come in for the informal.
We will, do what we do. All right, Tennessee Tech University Police Department request a waiver of in-service for James Olson, hired December 8th, 2025, did not complete the required training for the calendar year, and is deficient 8 hours of firearms. The waiver would keep the agency in compliance.
Is there someone online from Tennessee Tech PD?
Yes, we're here.
What was his date of hire?
December 8th.
All right, and he did 39.5 hours of training?
Yes.
But we're talking about a 8.5 or an 8 hour requirement.
We didn't, due to time constraints and weather, and we have to borrow a range. We just wasn't able to get a full 8 hours of firearms in service in.
Understand. Does anybody on the commission have any questions? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Lane, second by Commissioner Leggins. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right, you're good to go with Mr. Olson. Moving on to Mr. Stafford.
All right, Jacob Stafford hired October 1st, 2025. He did not complete the required training for the calendar year due to completing transition school at the time of hire. This waiver would keep the agency and the officer in compliance with post guidelines and with the current rules package that we discussed last meeting. The transition school, that's going to be taken care of, and that won't be a problem in the future moving forward. So
Commissioner Green, motion to approve.
Liggett, second. We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Green, second by Commissioner Leggett. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right, you're good to go, Tennessee Tech PD. Thank you all for applying.
Thank you.
Moving on to the waivers of 6-month rule for Madisonville.
Madisonville Police Department requests a 6-month waiver for Olivia Hill, hired October 6, 2025. She was unable to begin training due to an injury. She's scheduled to attend Cleveland State in April of 2026.
Motion to approve.
Carter, second.
Motion to approve by Barton, second by Commissioner Carter. To approve, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to Sumner County.
Sumner County requests 3 6-month waivers for Owen Harrington, hired July 29, 2024. He was initially scheduled to begin training in January 2025, but was unable to due to an injury. In January 2026, he attended the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, but was unable to complete due to an injury. He is scheduled to return to the academy once medically cleared.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Barton, second by Commissioner Lane. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to their 6-month waivers. Looks like it's retro.
Yes, Sumner County requests 6-month waivers for the following listed officers who have completed an academy due to an oversight. The waivers were not requested: Peter Canteros, Connor Harmon, and Mason Rossi.
Motion to approve all three from Sumner County.
Second, Jackson.
We have a motion by Commissioner Barton to approve all 3, second by Commissioner Jackson. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to Union County.
The Union County Sheriff's Office requests a 6-month waiver for Zachary Womack, hired July 28, 2025, was able to begin training due to a medical issue. He's scheduled to attend Toledo in 2026.
Motion to approve, Barton.
Carter, second.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Barton, second by Commissioner Carter. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to our consent agenda. It's been distributed. Does anybody have any questions? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Chair, sorry.
Yep.
I was trying to thumb through it, my fingers were sticking to the thing. Commissioner Doggett, I'll need to recuse myself on item number 5. Consent agenda.
Commissioner Green, I need to accuse myself on item number 10 for the Knoxville Police Department.
All right. Anyone else?
Excuse myself. Next, police department.
While I get all this.
Sure, I'm going to have to recuse myself on section 10. Sorry, Coffee County's got somebody in that one name. That is Patel,
All right.
but I can vote on everything.
All right. Those noted in the record, if we don't have any further discussion, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve all items contained there within.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Doggett. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes with the referenced abstentions. Moving on to old business.
Old business, Hancock County Sheriff's Office post investigators to update information on a report of findings on a investigation that he directed us to undertake.
Kevin Creed, post investigator. This case involves William M. Someone who was up for decertification in the November meeting when we were in Gatlinburg. It was Hancock County submitted him for decertification. The sheriff did not appear for the hearing in Gatlinburg. Several parties, family members, and past employees of the Hancock County Sheriff's Department spoke to the commission. Originally, he took no action against his certification, but After the comments of the family members and the past employee, it was sent back for investigation to see if this past employee misled the post commission. So during my course of investigation, I received documents from Mr. Shaw, who's present today, and also I spoke to TBI agent Lowe, who was the special agent in charge of the case that involved the initial assault that Mr. Evans was driving around with the accused person for aggravated assault in that case. Mr. Evans made statements to the post commission that he did not witness the assault that took place, and also that he was not under the influence of, wasn't intoxicated. He did say he drank, but he wasn't intoxicated. Through my part of the investigation, it was determined through the people I mentioned earlier that he was indeed present during that assault. And by all accounts, he should have seen what took place and should have intervened in that aggravated assault and helped that individual who was being severely injured. It was also determined by the people I spoke to, including Special Agent Lowe, that he was under the influence of alcohol and intoxicated. It was determined that after this assault took place, he left the scene of the incident and decided to go to sleep in a field somewhere in Claiborne County and did not have his phone on him. It was at some point during this initiation of this whole investigation on TBI, they were trying to locate him and they were about to get drones up in the sky to look for him because he was missing. I did speak to Mr. Evans over the phone. He denied all these allegations and said he wasn't intoxicated. He did say he drank alcohol, and he said that where the assault was, it was an L-shaped building, and he was on the other side of the building where the assault was took place. Since those comments were made on a Google Earth picture of the incident, doesn't really look like an L-shaped building. It's just a parking lot with buildings in between, kind of like an alleyway. And from my determination, it looked like he should have been able to see the assault and intervened in the assault. There was also one of the witnesses to the incident told the investigators, not me, but told special agents of the TBI that Mr. Evans actually made a comment that someone asked him to intervene, you're a police officer, intervene. And he made the comment that my badge turns off at 5 o'clock, which I'll leave that to the commission to read exactly what you like. But I do believe it's a serious allegation of him misleading the commission. And like I said, this is special agent with TBI's report. We don't have access to TBI's reports. This is just what the special agent has told me over the phone as part of her investigation. But she would be willing to give me all those witnesses, and we could, if we have a formal hearing, try to get those full actual witnesses here to say that Mr. Evans was present, did see the assault, and that he made those comments that his badge turns off at 5 o'clock, and that he was under the influence of alcohol and intoxicated. I don't have any of those witnesses today, but I believe they made those comments to TBI, so I believe they would make those comments to the commission if you choose to have a full commission or whatever the commission decides.
Commissioner Beverly, is he still actively working?
He is not working. He was like, there was also the statement that he said he just kind of left the Hancock County Sheriff's Department. He wasn't terminated. That's still debatable if he was actually terminated. I can't prove either way. Like I said, the sheriff will not come to the commission to tell us the actual outcome of why he's no longer with the Hancock County Sheriff's Department. He didn't come to the November meeting. But he's no longer in law enforcement as of today. But like I said, this is just people telling me information. It hasn't been substantiated. But I was told that he has a possibility of getting rehired back to that department after the election.
What's okay to say?
Well, the Hancock County Sheriff's Office did submit his separation as resigned during internal investigation. So while he may not have been terminated, I wouldn't say that he left in exactly good standings either.
Which would be enough to violation of our post rules to either refer back to an informal.
Correct.
To get that process
and
started.
the integrity issue also would be something that you could hold him accountable for.
Would be my thoughts at least. So let's get this back to an informal. He can appear or we
Face
not.
default.
Or face a default. Yes. Any other thoughts?
Commissioner Wilbright, I was there at that meeting and some of y'all weren't there, but he characterized it mainly as like a fist fight. But the mother of the victim, who is here today again, she said her son was beaten nearly to death and he had lifelong severe injuries. So to me, the officer was being very untruthful with this commission.
And I was at the same meeting for the info there with Commissioner Wilbur. I would concur with exactly what she wound up saying. And I'll make a motion to send it to, an informal hearing.
Over a second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jeffers to send to an informal, a second by Commissioner Wilbur. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. We'll get them on the docket. We'll take care of it. Thank you.
And Kevin, do we have the TBI agent here for that informal too?
I do not know if it went to a formal hearing, that would probably be more reasonable because we've had a special agent here at a previous formal hearing. I know that the person who assaulted the person has been arrested and those charges are proceeding. I do not know if Mr. Evans is going to be charged in that crime also or anything after the fact. I think that part of that investigation is still going on. And TBI, I mean, their records are under seal. And I don't think we're going to get any, by state law, I don't think they can cooperate with our commission until that's, so it's going to be hard. Like I said, we can probably get the witnesses that the agent interviewed and have them speak at a formal hearing. Obviously, informal would be inappropriate, but if it goes to a formal hearing, we can probably get those same people that she spoke to and that other parties, the family members and stuff like that, all the information on later. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, moving on to new business.
All right, annual Academy reports, following Academy's request approval of their 2025 annual reports, Blount County, Knoxville Police Department, and the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy.
Commissioner Green, I need to recuse myself for Knoxville Police Department and Blount County Sheriff's Office.
Commissioner Parker makes a motion to approve.
Carter, second. Motion to approve by Commissioner Carton, second by Commissioner Carter. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the abstentions noted. On to Mr. Durham.
All right, Jacob Durham, on June 30th of 2022, Mr. Durham was arrested for domestic assault, false imprisonment in Franklin County. On April 20th, 2023, he pled guilty to the assault charge, entered a court-ordered surrender of his police certification. So we would just need the permission to approve the accepting of his.
Commissioner Green, motion to approve.
Liggins, second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Green, a second by Commissioner Liggins to accept the surrender. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Moving on.
All right, late submissions of required documents, in-service training. Following agencies were late submitting their in-service training for the 2025 calendar year. And what we've started to do, if you haven't noticed in the last couple of years, is that agencies that are trying to submit in-service training, things like lesson plans, now that we're into 2026, we make them jump through some hoops to come before the post commission to get that approved. So we don't want to create habits for folks to wait till next calendar year to try and submit something from the previous year. So those following agencies are Blaine Police Department, Gainsborough PD, Greene County, Johnson City, South Carthage, and the Sweetwater Police Department.
Everything's in order. We're just granting the waiver.
Yeah, we would just need the commission to approve us accepting those late documents so we can continue processing their salary supplements. And the hope is that by putting them on agendas, we're listing them, we're making them come before the commission and jump through hoops. And last year, if you recall, we had an issue where we saw some repeat offenders and the post commission actually made those agencies come back and appear in person and answer questions. So we're just trying to hold folks a little more accountable for, not being diligent.
Any of these repeat offenders?
No, sir. Okay.
Entertain a motion or discussion?
I heard the General Assembly is going to start putting a tax on.
our two up, we're like, I don't know about that. Why are you so red?
We've got something waiting in their hand. If you want to come to the lectern and address the commission, you would just identify yourself, sir.
Thank y'all for your time. I'm Chief David Long with South Carthage Police Department. I don't understand any of this. But I've got documents here where our V Academy stuff sent to the post back in October. And again, my office over the V Academy, I had to send it again in December, 1st of January. And then we get this email all through January. I've been trying to enter, and all I'm getting is an error saying there's a problem with the V Academy. So I ain't got any of my stuff submitted. I don't know what to do about submitting the rest of the stuff to be submitted because my officers there, they ain't showing up. So we were told back in December, my officer called down here and was advised that Miss Roberts was on vacation out of the country, would not be back until January, so it would be corrected then. Then as long as January, I get an email, hey, you supposed to be here from the post. So I just don't understand this. I don't know what to do with this.
I understand. Let's see if we can get some guidance and make sure we get it squared away.
Well, and the matter that you're referring to is actually getting addressed later on in this agenda. If you want to hang around here, it's a lot of macros and spreadsheets and ones and zeros. But we're getting the V Academy portion taken care of, and we'll get you taken care of and get your stuff processed, Chief.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
What do I do about submitting the rest of the stuff? My question.
We'll take care of it. We're gonna get with you. Yes, sir. We're gonna get.
Thank y'all for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chief. We have a motion.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Park, motion to approve.
Commissioner Jeffers, second.
Jeffers, second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to our lesson plans.
And the Trenton Police Department seeking approval for their firearms lesson plan that was submitted after the deadline.
Any issues with it or?
No, sir, it's just late.
Commissioner Green, motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Commissioner Green.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Parton. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to pre-employment.
The Illinois Central Railroad Police Department, and hiring of Lucas Allegra. He was hired April 1st, 2025. We didn't receive the paperwork until January 2026. Everything is satisfactory. And with some of those railroad police departments, they're only hiring one or two guys probably every couple of years. And it's very likely that just whoever's in charge of the hiring isn't familiar with the CADIS, had no idea, is probably from out of state. And that's not abnormal with those folks that don't get into a CADIS, but maybe once every 2 years. So, but everything we have everything we need.
This is Commissioner Green. My dad worked for Illinois Central Railroad for 40 years. This is the best railroad system out there. I'll go on record. So.
Looks like they're recommending no action. Do we have a motion to take no action?
No action, motion.
Second. Motion to take no action, second by Commissioner Leggins. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to waivers.
Due to an oversight, the Lafayette Police Department failed to submit in-service waivers for the 2023-2024 calendar years for the following officers, Homer Harrell. And the second one there is Isaiah Tate Lloyd. And I actually spoke with Chief Forsyth from Lafayette. This was something that we didn't catch. They actually caught it and reported it to us and said, hey, these guys are part-time officers that missed their in-service training for those calendar years. We were in between GDIs and we were trying to figure out what to do. And then we're going back and cleaning up our records and caught it. What do we need to do? We recommended just going ahead and submitting the waiver. That way it would be in the officer's file that it was submitted, and the post commission, took action on that request. And that way there's no gaps. Everything's I's are dotted and T's are crossed.
Just some administrative cleanup.
Yes, sir. And again, they're the ones that came to us with the issue.
Motion to approve.
This motion to approve all three.
Yes.
Second. Commissioner Green.
We have a motion by Commissioner Parton, second by Commissioner Green to approve all three. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to our legal report.
Good morning, Ashley Ball with legal, sorry. My name is Ashley, I promise guys. So it should be on you all's iPads. And this is the list. At last month's meeting, the commission voted to have us produce a report for individuals who the subcommittee had either default decertified or had voted to decertify, and that those cases would be potentially heard by an ALJ alone. And so attached, or that is the report that you all have. These are the lists of the names of the individuals. There's 13 of them that would fall into those two categories. Now this list doesn't include any cases that are over 3 years old, because we've already previously been given permission to use or to do an ALJ alone for those, and also the majority of those have already been resolved. So this report is for you all to review and let us know how you would like to proceed with these.
I see Mr. Patterson on there, but we have a proposed settlement with
Yes,
him.
and yes, and so I'll just thank you for bringing that up and explaining it. Some of the commissioners might remember what we've been doing. If an individual previously would have been an older case, because those are the only ones that had ALJ alone. But if they had wanted to present a settlement offer, that settlement offer would be presented, has been presented to the commission prior to the hearing date. So the commission still votes on whether or not to accept a settlement offer or not, and that's still why he is on this list. Just because, you know, depending upon what you all do, there may still be a hearing. And that would be the practice going forward too, unless you all wanted to do that differently as well.
Any questions from the commission?
So like in this order with this, order of settlement, when we vote on this, and this as a whole, we're agreeing to all of this. Is that what you're saying? So I'm looking at this one on Batterson. Are we about to vote on his order of settlement?
That's separate and apart from this topic.
Okay.
So right now, this is just about whether or not the commission would allow these cases to be handled by administrative law judges alone. And that's what this would be for. Any settlement, as I said, would still, let's just say you all voted to allow these to go to ALJ alone. If, say, Ryder Cook wanted to produce wanted to offer a settlement, that would still come before y'all to vote on. It wouldn't change that practice at all, which is why it might be a little confusing because Mr. Batterson's on here twice, but.
And this list is,
It just takes us away from a formula. These are going to go to the
right,
administrative judge.
These are appeals that have already come before the informal committee. The informal either voted for decertification or default decertification. And instead of these appeals going on the list for formals, we're just saying these ones can go to an ALJ, and the ones that we approved.
And with an ALJ alone hearing, there in the notice of rights section, I want to say this right. So for an ALJ alone hearing, after that hearing, after the judge has made a decision, then the respondent, who in this case would be the officer, has the right to appeal that decision. And if they were to appeal the decision of the ALJ, then that still comes before the commission, if that makes sense. So you're not voting away ever touching this again.
I really like the idea, but it can go a different way as well, that we've got to keep in mind that just like this Batterson guy, I remember that case. I can tell you, I'm not going to be in any agreement for that guy. But there may be details in these individuals that administrative judge may say, oh, it's okay, that we needed to hear as the professionals. You know, it's a double-edged sword, but it is a clearinghouse, basically, of dockets. But I want us to be cautious, or be very cautious about.
I've got a question. If one of these appeals goes to the ALJ, is the ALJ actually hearing and making their decision based on the facts or based on the appeal of the outcome, and it's more of a procedural review, kind of like the appeal would be in a criminal court?
No, it is a hearing of the fact, so it's the, the whole, like, hearing process, what y'all, introduction, introduction of evidence.
It's trial, it's a bench trial
Yes,
without jury,
yes.
And
and
that's,
we're the jury.
and that's something the default decertifications, I don't seem to have a problem with.
I don't
They didn't show up, but, for instance, I believe Ms. Williams was the one from Memphis last month that admitted to some criminal conduct in front of us. And
Yeah, and the thought process behind these where if they're not bringing forth any new evidence, I don't have new witnesses, there's not been a change. They're just bringing back the same old thing right before you for a formal hearing to, it's basically provided the same. So, yeah, and that's why we discussed this last month. We wanted to have the reports. That way you could review these individually, decide which ones you wanted to send to an ALJ, which ones you didn't want to send to an ALJ.
Commissioner Wilbur, I just want to echo Commissioner Parton's worry that y'all have the knowledge that an ALJ does not. And when we're in a formal, we get to use your knowledge. And I just worry that if someone can not pull the wool over an ALJ's eyes, but just that ALJ does not have the work experience and depth of knowledge. I just worry.
Well, and then down the road, if one is reinstated, so to speak, that may have done or should have been reinstated, ends up in an agency, maybe not in Tennessee, but let's say Kentucky, something bad happens, it reverts back on all of us. And I've made some bad decisions here, even with them in front of us, and we've had new evidence come up and we've had to bring them back. It just scares me in today's time. I just want to make sure we do what's right. But I also get what legal is trying to go through. And I've said ever since I've been on this board, we're going to be inundated more and more and more. I've never seen so many law enforcement officers being decertified in my life. And that tells us where our hiring policies are. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel of competition. I'm just gonna take advice of the rest of the board on how they want.
Well, and to the chairman's point, it's not an all or nothing. And if you want to just do the default, so try it.
It's whichever.
And it's
This
hard.
was just this was just a report, that was from the direction of the two categories that you got, or that you all said you wanted to see, so.
And it's
However
very
you
good.
wanna
Yeah.
do it.
I guess and Commissioner Green, this is my question is, on a default decertification where we really didn't have a lot of facts presented, I almost hate to have a default go to administrative judge where there's no facts to really consider. I'd rather it come back to an informal if we had to do one. But once we've made a decision and we've had facts and evidence brought to us.
Well, those would just proceed to a formal, I think,
Yeah.
in that case. Yeah, I mean, I see your point, but yeah.
That's my biggest worry on the default is we heard almost nothing. They just weren't here. And so what facts are they going to hear an administrative judge other than them saying, I didn't do it? So I would make a motion that all the default certifications need to come back to the post commission. That's my motion.
Yes.
And then we'll address the other. I don't care which, whether it's informal or formal, it needs to come back to the post commission.
It would need to be a formal because
Because they've already passed.
because the
informal.
subcommittee already voted on, the subcommittee made a decision about. Or they made a decision.
My motion would be for default certifications on appeal should come back to the full off this list.
So my thing about it is that, I know we're trying to process more people, through, because to try to prevent the backlog that you can wind up getting, but even though it could be a little bit archaic sometimes, like with the formal hearing, trying to schedule a formal hearing, and Lord only knows, I haven't had that many formal hearings, but the ones I have had, been 5 to 6 hours apiece, but it does seem to wind up getting things done because, to Sheriff Parton's point, there's been a lot of times that I've been here and I might have been going one way. And by the time I got to the end of that 5 to 6 hours with, with a little bit, with work and knowledge that I've had in my life and life experiences have seen different things. Sometimes I got changed pretty quick on something may have popped up, like one little tidbit of information, then I'm like, yeah, that right there, and that might change the whole course of the case, good or bad, for whoever shows up. So, I mean, I'm just very cautious of the administrative.
We can always shelf this idea and
Start scheduling
keep
for
plowing
us.
ahead, and
Yeah, we're
if we get
still.
backlogged, then we can revisit and
Yeah, we're
figure something else
still,
out.
hearings are currently scheduled the end of the year. So. We'll keep on going, so.
Keep plowing on, you won't be seeing us much longer anyway.
Then I rescind my motion.
Yeah, all right, so we have a rescinded motion. I believe we can just take this under advisement for the next month then, until next month. Moving us for settlement proposal for Mr. Batterson.
Yes, so, Mr. Batterson has proposed a settlement offer, which is, I think, also uploaded on your, yeah, I know, it's uploaded on y'all's iPad. And so this is the settlement that he and his counsel, proposed, and it's presented for you all to, make a decision on. I would say that Inspector Perry told me this morning that the Chattanooga Police Department is opposed to any type of settlement, and so I also wanted to give you all that information as well.
Confirm. This was the gentleman that tased another deputy that was guarding an inmate.
Yes, sure.
And his reason for thinking it was okay is she gave me a look.
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
You need a,
Remember.
Chairman, are you ready for a motion?
Yes, sir.
No, I deny, or have a motion to deny this, settlement agreement.
Wilbur, second.
A motion by Commissioner Parton, second by Commissioner Wilbur to deny. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. The proposal has been denied.
Post investigative report, findings, investigations, Cheatham County. Certification status and missing profile and a case for Cameron Wicker.
Kevin Green, post investigator. This week, the post commission received a letter from a complainant, just different allegations against an officer. And when we put it into our system for tracking, it was a human error and it was reversed in, the first and last name were reversed in. And when that was looked in a CADIS, that officer's profile cannot be found, but it was human error that a person is in a CADIS. They are an officer at the Cheatham County Sheriff's Department. What I did after this fact was found out, I notified Cheatham County Sheriff's Department of the actual allegation. I actually emailed the GDI, the General Department Instructor, the complaint that was mailed to us. And they were going to handle it internally with their department there. I also contacted the complainant of the original complaint and notified them that it did not meet post criteria for the allegations they were claiming. And that the local department was going to be handling that complaint with them. I also notified Cheatham County Sheriff's Department that after they do their internal investigation, if there's anything that they need us for that does meet our criteria for investigation, then we'll be more than happy to take that on after that is found out for us. So there's really no findings on our end. It was just a human error reversing the first and last name to a CADIS. And that's why the profile wasn't found.
All is correct now. We're good to go.
There was no problem with the CADIS. It was just human error entering into the complaint portal.
So I take it your recommendation be no action then?
There's no action. The local department's handling the issue, and if after their investigation, if they choose to do one, if there's any allegations regarding certification or training or like that, they will push it back to us to continue with that.
So you heard the recommendation, no action. Do we have a motion or any other discussion?
Commissioner Jefferson, I'll make a motion for no action.
Commissioner Lane, second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jeffers for no action, second by Commissioner Lane. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to Jasper. Thank you.
Kevin Creed, post investigator again. This came in as a complaint through the administration of Jasper, town of Jasper itself, not the police department, but the town itself sent the complaint to the post commission to see if information was entered into the CADIS portal incorrectly and untruthfully by the general department instructor Dykes, I believe he was lieutenant at the time, to see if he inputted system, information that was related to him improperly and untruthful. Through my course of investigation, I spoke to GDI Dykes. I spoke to the chief of police for Jasper Police Department. I also spoke to an officer, Harley Cross, who was a witness to a statement that was made. So the allegation is that the town council, the city commission of Jasper told the police department they terminated an employee for violation of certain policies. And they wanted those specific policies to be put into a cadus of the reason for the termination of that officer. They instructed Mr. Chief Mason to tell the general department instructor to put it in specifically that way with those violations intact. So when it was inputted in to a cadus, you'll see in your information provided of how it was inputted in. It wasn't inputted in the way the city council wanted it to be put in. This is kind of like a internal IA that they pushed on us. So it was no untruthful facts that were put into a cadus. What happened is he was terminated by the town for the incidents that took place. The general department instructor did not put the specific violations down. When I spoke to the GDI Dykes, he said that he spoke to Post to pretty much get an idea of how to, just the wording of it, how to put it into the system. And that before he entered it into the computer, into a cadus, General GDI Dykes called Chief Mason on the phone and said, hey, I'm going to read this to you. This is the way I'm going to put it into a cadus. Is this okay with you? And he verbally said exactly what he was putting into a cadus to the chief. And according to Dykes, the chief said, yes, go ahead. And Dykes said, send, and sent it in that way. I spoke to Chief Mason about this, about the GDI Dykes saying that he said he told you that he was verbally telling you how he was putting it into the computer and that you said it was okay. He kind of backtracked a little bit saying, I don't remember. He could have. So I also interviewed Holly Cross. She was a trainee officer with GDI Dykes, who was present during the phone call with Chief Mason and Dykes. And she confirmed that that Dykes did read something that he was putting into the computer about, into a system. Didn't know the actual wording of that was being said because she said she was a trainee. She didn't know she had to be paying attention to that stuff. But she did say Dykes called the chief and said, this is what I'm putting in, and type it in the way it was. She did, like I said, she didn't know the actual verbiage of it. But she did say that took place, that conversation did take place. So after this investigation took place on our end, the town of Jasper has since terminated GDI Dykes, and they also terminated Ms. Cross. And the Chief Mason of Jasper Police Department is no longer the chief of police for Jasper Police Department. I believe he resigned. So I don't know what's going on at the department right now. According to a cadus, Mr. Mason is still the chief of police. And I believe Mr. Dykes is still in a cadus also, still working for that department, even though he was terminated over a month ago. Ms. Cross, according to a cadus, is no longer in a cadus as an active officer for Jasper Police Department. So they did one edit out of the 3 edits into a cadus properly. So like I said, I think this is more of an internal IA investigation that the town pushed onto us. I could not find any untruthfulness by GDI Dykes. And it looked like Mr. Mason doesn't remember the conversation properly. And Holly Cross did acknowledge that the conversation did take place between Dykes and Mason. So I don't know what the commission wants to do next. All 3 parties are no longer in law enforcement. I know one of them is going to be running for sheriff from Marion County. But the other 2 are no longer in law enforcement, and I believe trying to get employment. And this is holding them back, the claim of untruthfulness.
It looks like There's been some counsel retained on this as well.
The town of Jasper has their own attorney. That's a private law firm. I don't think they're, it's not like a larger agency where they have their own in-house counsel. I believe it's a separate law firm that's representing them. I reached out to them and wanted to see if they did any internal investigation, and I wanted any documentation from them if they spoke to any parties involved prior to making a complaint to us. The only thing they provided to me was pretty much the town minutes of the termination of the original person that they were gonna put the information to a CADIS for that created this problem. And then also the statement by Chief Mason, you'll see that. It's kind of an interesting statement. It says, Chief Billy Mason instructed Lieutenant Dykes what to send a post in reference to Patrolman Robbie Dykes' termination from Jasper Police Department. I stated the report should state he violated these 3 policies. But like I said, the phone call Dykes had with Mason, they didn't talk about these 3 policies being involved in it. They were going word for word what he was typing into the computer, and Harley Cross was able to confirm that that conversation took place, but not the actual information involved with it.
All right, so any questions? It's a lot, quite a bit to unpack there, especially with all of them gone. I believe you can refer any of them to the informal. We're kind of, this is more an investigative report if you want to let Jackson. It appears on here that one of the folks that was terminated, Mr. Dykes.
That's so.
Is retained in
history.
PBS.
The Lieutenant Dykes at GDI, the person he was entering in the information for was his son. And he was the one being terminated. So the wording of
that's where it.
But according to Dykes, he talked to the chief, and they agreed upon that wording that was put in, and Ms. Cross was able to confirm that conversation did exist. So, like I said, this is an internal information.
Let's see. Thoughts from the commission?
Commissioner, do we need to get them up here? It's based off what you've done. Do we need to get them in the room and talk to them?
Dykes is pretty adamant, the conversation he had with Mr. Mason. Mr. Mason is the one who was like, I don't remember, it could have happened. So I don't know what the commission will do on that, if it needs to go to informal or go to anything, or just let it lay with what Jasper did with their terminations on internally.
I won't go ahead and make a motion. Let's work on it.
Refer to an informal?
Yes.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor to refer all 3 to an informal.
Jackson, second.
And second by Commissioner Jackson.
Ms. Cross is not a certified officer.
Okay.
She never made it to the academy. She was let go during the training process. I think she went to the academy she was discharged, but she's no longer in law enforcement and she's not certified. So I don't know if the commission can bring an uncertified officer.
She might be a witness down the road.
She might be with it. And my thinking is if she's applying elsewhere, this might give a little bit of ability for her to get some vindication and this not affect her career further.
Well, she has no jeopardy involved. She's not under the gun or untruthfulness or anything like that. I don't think she was terminated. I don't know the reason for termination. Director Beller could look it up in ACADIS.
So that would be my concern is it's showing terminated in ACADIS. And if it does, that gives the ability for her to put something on record. That way, when she applies to another agency, it's not just ACADIS, they're going off.
Commissioner Wilbur, I was just talking to legal, and I'm sorry, I missed something, but for the the officer who does not have post certification, we really don't have jurisdiction to bring her in, so she can come in voluntarily, is what I understand from legal.
And maybe that was my assumption that we could ask her, but
Well,
an opportunity.
For further clarification, Jasper listed her separation as resigning good standing.
Okay.
So even if she was certified, we wouldn't have any grounds to have her come in. It looks like she's been hired by Grundy County.
Okay.
Looks like she's moving on, then maybe we can let that one ride and just bring the other 2 in.
Yeah, I mean, I'd stay in contact with her, but I mean, you know.
I have a phone number for that officer, and
She may.
I was told she was terminated. I didn't look at ACADIS, but
Yeah, so probably bring Lieutenant Dykes and Chief Mason.
Yes.
that was a game plan.
That clarifying your motion?
Absolutely.
Chief and Lieutenant, okay. And again, the reason we're Ms. Cross was just to give her a chance to, this doesn't affect her career in the future.
Understand.
We can put it to bed on that side, but so the motion is to bring the chief and lieutenant up to the post commission for an informal hearing. We have a motion.
Commissioner Jefferson.
We have a second by Commissioner Jeffers. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Get them on the docket. Thank you.
All right, meeting dates for West Tennessee, we discussed, the possibility of having a, post-commission meeting somewhere out in West Tennessee. We were looking at either May or September. And just wanted to kind of put that before you guys to kind of see what you felt would work better with your schedules. You know, September is kind of fall break arena, May's into school. So I kind of. think that would be-
in October, so, or the school's fall break.
Could we, would July be anyone opposed to July?
What is the location? Let's just see, can we determine that?
So we're just over by your house.
Oh, that would be fantastic. UT Martin would be great.
Yeah.
We could have it at the university, but I didn't know if we had already determined a spot.
We haven't, I know Chief had mentioned being willing to host and then, so it's kind of up to the commission on what we decide and then a date. What's the thoughts? I guess, UT Martin, we would need to check and confirm if they could.
Yes,
host
sir.
us.
Of course, in Jackson and Madison County is right in the center of West Tennessee. And there's a really, really high-end training center there at the Sheriff's Department in Jackson. Of course, the TBI regional office is in Jackson, just right around the corner from the training center there. So one of those two locations would be good, convenient too.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe I've been out to the training center there. When we started to reach out to Sheriff Weiser, who's got the best,
I would say Martin's got the best food, but that's just me.
That's your like barbecue, and Shelby County's gonna be the place.
But I like Jackson too.
I don't like Carter.
I think May's.
It's really close to where I just assumed I'd be. Not to name any names.
We're gonna keep
I
it
don't-
safe.
Where are we at with our receipt? Is May bad for y'all?
Do we already have a formal schedule for May? My only thinking is they're already coming from
I
Knoxville.
just didn't know or we've got several members that got committees, different stuff. I didn't know.
I'm hoping that we're gonna be out of there first of May.
We didn't want you to miss.
Right, and I wouldn't want to miss either.
I would request July or August if possible, but if that's out for others, I understand. But what's the temperature of the commission? Do we want to decide a date? And then once we decide a date, we can come back next month and research possible venues and vote on a venue. But first, we need to get a date set. In which month we would like to do this, and how does that work with staff? Are they open to pretty much any month or any month's blocked out?
we can make pretty much anything work. I think the only issue with August is that Friday is also the end of the first week of new sheriff school. So August would be tough because we'll be in the middle of putting on new sheriff school.
Could I respectfully ask that we consider after August, maybe look at a September?
September's doable. I like September, and we can reach out to a couple of venues and we'll come back to you with a couple of options and we'll make it happen.
Would it be possible to move it 1 week in December? I know we normally meet on the third week, but moving it to the 10th or the 24th.
24th, I'll be in Europe.
September or December?
September.
September.
Anybody have any conflict with that?
You want to move it up a week, like the 10th and 11th?
Yes, if possible.
Yeah, this I may just show up just to be shown.
I don't think that's an issue. That actually works pretty well for us because the following week, the 24th, 25th is our basic graduation. So if we wanted to move it up and do it the 10th and 11th, I think we're far enough out scheduling wise to make that happen. And we would just update the website with the new date and,
Want to set, let's shoot for September 10th and 11th, and then if you, we can put it on some of the commission members, if your local area wants to host, you'll work out an area or a venue, bring it up to us, we can decide on their county. Coffee County.
Yeah, we can have it on the banks of the, Beach Creek down there, picnic table.
All right, so we're looking at a date of September 10th and 11th, I believe, for the formal and informal, out in West Tennessee, and we will confirm, venue next month. Everybody good with that? Moving on. Let's see, sheriff challenges.
all right, sheriff challenges, no matter, the post received challenges from following individuals regarding the 2026 sheriff election cycle. The matter of Rolando S. Benasco, he's challenging qualification for candidacy in Benton County, Tennessee, pursuant to TCA 88102. Benasco here.
I am, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm a retired police chief from Lake County, Florida, Mascot. 15 years with that township. I was a certified correction officer as well for the Florida Department of Prisons, 12 years, 6 months. Finish up my education, I have a doctor's degree from North Central University. When I lived in Camden, Tennessee, Benton County for the last, coming up on 4.5, 5 years. I saw the need for me to maybe make the county a little bit better, so I went ahead down and got the checkoff list for the package for sheriff. I went ahead and it says to go take a psychological. I went in with a psychologist, got that report, submitted my resume. I called the Criminal Justice Standing Training Commission out of Florida, which is under the FDLE report, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and they have a global profile sheet. It's basically, they track any officer, certified correction officer, agency by agency. So I went down this checkoff list and it says, come down to number 9, proof of post certification or 3 years equivalent state or federal experience in the last 10 years. I'm not certified. So I didn't select 9, but I did select 10. If not currently post certified, because I'm not. Proof of basic training, proof of training, including hours, curriculum, syllabus and certificates. So I submitted my law enforcement certificate of hours in law enforcement in Florida and corrections. Then I went down, they got the fingerprints, everything was no problem. And it says, the problem I have, it says previous. Previous of what? It's not the last 10 years. If the wording on the rule would have stated before applying for sheriff, you must have at least 10 years from the date you apply for this position, we wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have to spend and invest. When I submitted the global profile, the office here told me that they'd never seen something like that or recognized. And I said, well, how do you track the officers? Good or bad? Because that's how we tracked them in Florida when I was chief. We go to the law enforcement profile. So then they wanted submission of when I was employed as full-time service law enforcement. So I went back to Mascot and Winter Haven
And I had the letterheads from the time that I was employed there. So it does show that I have prior law enforcement previous experience. So it's not in the last 10 years of, no, it's previous. And I've been a law enforcement officer, instructor, hostage negotiator, corrections, both sides, education. I had a Congressman Daniel Webster have an award that was given to me. And law enforcement now needs some great experience. So I asked, and I said, no, I can't sit down and say that this ruling is real big into interpretation. If you just use the word last 10 years, does last 10 years mean? But if you say or previous, or at least I have 3 years, I do. I'm just asking for a chance to be placed on that ballot. Let citizens of Benton County choose if they want a different mindset or a better operational thinking, because I'm a taxpayer in that county. And Lord have mercy, I was the first chief in Lake County, Florida that brought in-cab cameras for the cars, cameras for the officers, to eliminate false allegations, false reports, and help police officers in their investigation. So I'm just asking to be placed and move forward for this ballot. If not, it will be very sad day for me. But I did my time. I want to give back and try to help that county. And after this election, if they don't want me, my wife said I'm not going to the academy again, so I thank you. But I thank you for the time, and I just want to see you guys a little bit open. And I do show that I do have law enforcement experience, and maybe change the wording, because I invested a lot of money, time. A lot of people in the community know me. There's a lot of stuff that every department will talk about. I'm not here for that. But we need to invest in law enforcement. We need to invest in salaries. We need to invest. I mean, I'm not trying to preach to you. There's so many years of experience in this room. Do the right thing and let me go forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I guess we'll defer to legal on this, kind of give us some background on the sheriff qualifications. It's the first election cycle.
We'll throw up the even though this is not really a challenge per se, this is more just an issue with the law. There's 3 years, 10 requirement.
Please. Someone.
You speak up, sir, okay?
We're trying to get the statute up on the.
Okay.
And I can read it if need be. I've got it pulled up. It says, except as provided in subdivision A9B, had at least 3 years of full-time experience as a post-commissioned certified law enforcement officer in the previous 10 years, or at least 3 years of full-time experience as a state or federal certified officer with training equivalent to that required by the post-commission in the previous 10 years provided.
If it's my understanding, you can be from out of state. You can, as long as the training equivalency is there, but within the last 10 years, you must have 3 years of active law enforcement. Right. That is the definition of the law. It's not an either or. It's not 3 years experience minimum. It doesn't matter when it's 3 within the last 10. Right. No matter what. And sir, I guess the question is, how long have you been out of law enforcement?
About 10 years now.
So
within the last 10 years, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah, and what he submitted to us is he last worked as a full-time law enforcement officer in Florida, April 1st of 2018. So that only gives him 2 years, 1 month and 6 days in the last 10 years.
And this is, the sheriff's qualifications are codified by statute, correct? Correct. So we don't have the ability to overrule that, correct? Even if we wanted to. What we
You're
just
the county
stated,
commission, right?
we are, but that is governed by statute, sir. We're not able to overrule statute passed by the General Assembly. It's not a post rule that we can grant a waiver on, and I know you were sitting through most of the meeting where there were waivers we can grant and what can be allowed. That would, certain waivers fall under our purview. However, if state law dictates how we must act or what is acceptable, we don't have the ability to grant a waiver on that.
Understand that, sir, but reading that same state law, previous, everybody stops at the word last. No, it's previous or. Let's look at it on the outside. It's previous or, not last. We get stuck on the word last.
Is that idea that you make the argument?
3 years full-time experience as state or federal certified law enforcement officer with training for that department. The previous 10 years, the previous from, I think we're sort of losing track of when previous begins to run backwards when you file. So we got 10 years inside of that 10 years, somewhere in there, 3 years full-time law enforcement. There's no, I don't know that I can really wordsmith it anymore.
And we measured that from the withdrawal deadline, so that gives everybody the equal
week
extra, gives them the maximum amount of time possible, gives everybody the same beginning line where that 10 years starts. Let's see.
So it doesn't seem like we have the ability to do anything at this point. And sir, I know this could be quite frustrating, and I don't want it to seem that's the worst thing you can do to someone to say they can't appear on the ballot. But however, we don't have the ability to grant a waiver on this. That is the interpretation of the law. And even if we say we agreed, we can't overrule statute. And that's kind of our position. I would encourage you to reach out to your state representatives and your state senator about this, but that's the General Assembly is going to be where this is done.
Okay, well, I did, and they were somewhere on Capitol Hill, but thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for your
We would just need a vote.
You need a vote to deny the challenge. So do we have a motion based on what our feedback from legal?
Mr. Lang. So move that motion.
Move to deny the challenge. Do we have a second?
Commissioner Jeffers, second.
We have a motion to deny the challenge by Commissioner Lane, a second by Commissioner Jeffers. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Again, I'm sorry, sir, but we wish you the best of luck.
Hey, no problem. Thank you.
On to Mr. Lang. And Candace Lang, a formal challenge regarding the qualification for candidacy in Houston County, submitted pursuant to the same statute, and this is going to be kind of the same 3 in the last 10. The challenge disputes that Mr. Lang has 3 years in the last 10. And Mr. Lang has submitted his packet, and I believe it's been approved and forwarded to Houston County Local Election Board. So this is a challenge of that decision to qualify him as a candidate.
All right, sir, if you'll identify yourself.
Yes, sir. I'm Camden Lang.
Good morning. So I believe there's been a challenge. I guess you have qualified for the ballot, correct? Turned in your petition. You've submitted everything to post. Someone has challenged your credentials? Anonymous person. And I guess we just kind of went through this without a state. When was the last time you were certified law enforcement employed in any agency?
May 11th, 2019.
May 11th, 2019. So how does this work on this clock backwards?
Well, the premise of the challenge is that Mr. Lang sustained an injury in 2017, was out on medical leave in FEMLA. And so the challenge disputes that he was working as a full-time law enforcement officer, being that he was out. Essentially, that would require the post commission to look at his time out on medical leave or on FEMLA as a break in service and separation from the agency. Mr. Lang did not officially separate from his agency in California until May 11th of 2019.
Well, I can speak on all of that as well.
Just one question. When you were on FEMLA, Was this related to an on-the-job injury?
Correct.
Okay. But go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, first, I'd like to thank the post commission and the investigators for the amazing work that you've done. You've been very professional. You've been very fair with me, so I appreciate you. I received formal notification of this challenge on Wednesday. So I've prepared as much as I could in this limited time frame. For historical context, in 2022, I was a candidate for Houston County Sheriff where I had to present to this board for the same challenge, which some of you may remember. You approved my candidacy then, and on February 9th, 2026, you approved my most recent candidacy as well. During the last 4 years, the Houston County Sheriff has submitted 2 challenges and letters to this post commission disparaging me and falsely accusing me of being unqualified and has complained about this very post commission. After I completed a public records request with Post in November of 2025, I discovered the Houston County Sheriff submitted a complaint letter stating verbatim, "I feel like Mr. Mines, the investigator in 2022, failed to do his job." I trust and respect this post commission. Regrettably, these repeated submissions create unnecessary work and cast doubt on your professionalism, especially since the current sheriff is not seeking re-election. In regards to this formal challenge, there are some very important things to consider. First and foremost, the challenger is anonymous. Secondly, the only item I can agree with inside of this challenge is that I worked with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. All the rest I vehemently disagree with, and it should be considered fabricated. Third, this challenge was submitted on December 3rd, 2025. This would be the second challenge received by Post before investigators reviewed my candidacy file. Post had received the November challenge by Sheriff Kevin Sugg, and then a subsequent challenge by this anonymous person, all before I even picked up my candidacy packet. My packet was specifically reviewed by Post on January 21st, 2026, and I'm very confident your Post investigators knew the substance of both of these challenges and considered them as they looked just a little bit closer into my file before they considered approving me, which they did. The challenge is anonymous for a multitude of reasons. Challenger does not want to be identified because of the exposure to litigation and criminal consequences. The content of this challenge is defamatory, slanderous, and libelous. TCA 8-8-102 4C-II outlines it as an offense to intentionally file a fraudulent challenge. It is also a misdemeanor. I cannot pursue any recourse or accountability to this challenger who is defaming and slandering my name, credibility, career, and qualifications for political purposes. Public records requests require full name, address, phone number, email, and identity verification, and a candidacy challenge should demand at least the equivalent verification given its greater weight. From my understanding, this is not a court of law with rules of evidence, but it risks becoming an unsubstantiated he said, she said matter. So this leads into the content of this challenge. In the applicable legal requirements section, this anonymous person has disregarded the 8-8-102-9A, which shows I exceed the minimum requirements, making this challenge null and void. TCA 38-8-1013 does not apply to me. I was never employed by a municipality or political subdivision of the state of Tennessee, again, ruling this challenge null and void. In the factual background section, this anonymous person claims I started my career on June 16th, 2012. June 14th, 2012 is when I began my career with a higher date of January 12th, 2012. This should rule the factual background section null and void. The anonymous person claims I suffered a self-inflicted gunshot wound on May 2nd, 2017, and cites an ABC News article from that day. If you look inside this article, my name is not mentioned or attributed to, making this null and void, but also defamatory, slanderous, and libelous. The factual background claims I was separated from the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office. I was honorably retired, as shown through my department issued EOSA certification and my HR 218 compliance, which states I was retired in good standing. Also, my badge, honor guard uniform, medals, and awards were all retired and able to be kept by me and my family. In the employment and compensation record section, the single most important fact to consider. Sergeant Mike Garcia does not exist. There is no Sergeant Mike Garcia within the Employee Resources Division, nor from my research is there even employed a Sergeant Mike Garcia in the entire department. I verified this with the Employee Resource Division on Wednesday. So because of this, anything following the supposed employee should be disregarded. Additionally, California Penal Code 832.7 makes peace officer personnel records confidential, but requires disclosure of records related to specified incidents of misconduct, such as dishonesty, sexual assault, and use of force resulting in great bodily injury. I question whether any department in the United States would release any of this information. Additionally, the information provided from this made-up employee should be considered defamatory, slanderous, and libelous. There's no public records request documented to obtain this information. And the claim that I had not conducted any law enforcement training after April 7th, 2017 is false. There were several trainings and certifications I completed which were never reported to the California Post Commission. To simplify my career, my hire date with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office was January 12th, 2012. And I was a sworn deputy and honorably retired on May 11th, 2019. The legal and practical analysis section offers unauthorized legal opinions from an anonymous, non-attorney source and deserves no weight, especially since it is reliant upon the information by a non-existent employee. Additionally, the second paragraph of this section contradicts the challenger's explanation of work history from the factual background section. In conclusion, this challenge relies on inaccuracies, anonymity, and unverified claims while contradicting itself in the process. I urge the commission to trust its investigators' thorough review and existing approval of my file, especially since your investigators were aware of this challenge and the November challenge during their review. I would ask you think about the precedent being set if you begin doubting my qualifications from an anonymous challenger. Please protect my campaign and put yourself in my shoes while I'm in the middle of an election. I'm certain all the other candidates will be watching this and may even use what I've just said against me. But lastly, I ask you to allow Houston County voters to decide this election, not some random anonymous person such as this.
Thank you. Any questions from the commission? So it seems like the substance of this challenge is that you were not a certified law enforcement officer during the time you were on medical leave. Is that, if I'm gathering, that's correct? And I don't know what legal's opinion is on us casting that. You were receiving insurance benefits. You were an employee of the sheriff's department during that time, correct?
I was receiving department benefits, not insurance benefits.
Department benefit, were you covered by their health insurance policy?
It's not a health insurance policy. It's through SB Sarah's retirement benefits as well as an association. So been employed by the sheriff's office as well. And the issue of timeframes within when I was injured and when I was off, I was going back and forth from injury during that entire time.
And my point being, it seems like this was as a result, you said, of an on-duty injury. And whether or not you were seeking medical care during that time or not, you were still employed by the agency.
I was a fully sworn deputy for the entire time.
What is, so I'm reading through the file here. What is staff's interpretation of his standing with the state of California? I mean, that's what we have to look at, correct? Is he rehireable? Is he in good standing with California Post? Sir, I'll get with you in a minute.
Well, and it's funny you bring that up.
I mean, let's start with the basics here.
Because there's nothing in the statute that really says anything about good standing, bad standing, decertification. It just clearly refers back to were you a certified officer for this duration of time. We've been going back and forth with the
Does that mean, so you talk about from our standpoint, good standing, bad standing? I mean, the statute says for me, I have to be post certifiable. And for me to be post certifiable in the state of Tennessee, I have to be in good standing.
It says, it really doesn't mention anything about good standing.
I have to be post certifiable.
You have to have been post certified for that 3 years inside the last 10.
Right. And in today's time, if it's outside of 7 years, I'm not certifiable. If I'm within the 3 and 7, I can be on the ballot, but we do not allow candidates that are decertified or if they're in the status of not rehire, if there's a bad file on somebody somewhere, that affects your post-commission certification. So I'm asking, how does California recognize this former deputy sheriff? I mean, is he a reject from California? Did he leave there in good standing with the state of California? I'm seeing some permanently incapacitated for the performance of duties I'm reading here. I mean, what does all this mean for us to interpret and accept what California's got to Tennessee?
Yes, sir. And I believe that was part of the challenge last time he ran, was the disability, and the statute doesn't require any kind of medical fit form duty, which is why he was able to run last time.
But
I can run him real quick. And I mean, based on what he has submitted, he would be post certifiable unless California has him entered into the National Decertification Index.
And that is our job for all. I mean, the sheriffs are required by the same requirements as our deputies and our police officers. That's kind of a no-brainer common sense in my world, but I'd hate to know we got a sheriff in bad standing as an elected official, but it happens.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's not in the National Decertification Index, so he'd be fully certified.
So that's step one that's out of the way. Is there anything else that investigators found or staff that doesn't meet up to our Tennessee standards?
No, sir, he meets all the qualifications in the statute.
And, okay, that's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of.
And of course, the other interesting part is, something that, I've encountered since being a post commissioner here is that if you meet the standard to wind up, becoming a sheriff, you can wind up being decertified while sheriff and still be sheriff by the Constitution. You just may not run for re-election, but you're still going to be there.
Well, you can lose your law enforcement powers. You can still draw a salary and be a not on the log sitting in a chair behind a desk doing administrative.
That's something that's currently being debated because of the way the statute's written. If you were decertified and still had the 3 and the 10, there's nothing in the statute that prevents you from running.
Right.
So I believe then on precedence of the previous challenge and during the last election cycle, he's met the criteria of coming from out of state and in good standing, good service during that time.
Yes.
At this point, what we are to consider is, does his time that he was on medical leave, but still employed with the agency, count as a certified officer? The argument, and this is just my interpretation, his certification was not taken from him. He was not separated from the department, and he carries a LEOSA card showing, just like we ran into yesterday at the informal, you were in good standing for this date. And does it happen on your LEOSA card happen to have a date of terminate of when your service ended? What does that say?
5/11/2019.
Okay, and that was issued by your agency?
Yes, sir. This is my department, and then I also have my flat badge as well for my HR 218 compliance.
And that's from the agency in California?
Yes, sir. If you would like to see it.
I trust you on that one.
Right. I didn't bring my gun in here.
I appreciate that one too.
Only question it brings up for me in the future is, I'm just saying we're fully disabled in one state drawing benefits. that may be something for us to talk about down the road.
And I think there should probably be something in the statute that clearly delineates that if you've been decertified, that you should be able to meet the qualifications.
Absolutely.
I think, and so I think we're drawing on the same issue of this as previous. Looks like there might need to be some amendment to statute, but it doesn't fall within our purview. Is that legal's kind of determination on that as well?
This is, these things, as we move forward legal into the future, long after we're gone, are not gonna go away. They're only gonna get worse. And, we really need to clean up our requirements, especially. I just can't fathom that, somebody that's come before this board that we've decertified for whatever reason can turn around and go on the ballot, beat the person out that decertified them, and then be the chief law enforcement officer of the county with a disgraced license. That's just kind of the biggest oxymoron situation I could ever think of, but it's going to happen. But thank you.
Commissioner Green, I'll make a motion to take no action on this challenge.
We have a motion to take no action. Do we have a second?
Commissioner Lane, second.
We have a second by Commissioner Lane to take no action. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes, carry it. Good luck on the race. Thank you all. Appreciate you.
All right, Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency request, pilot post standards and meeting pre-employment training requirements. The agency is seeking approval or recommendations regarding psychological and medical forms on file for existing officers. Good morning, sir. If you would just identify yourself for the record, please.
I'm Dale Grant, staff, the Colonel of the Law Enforcement Division for Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
All right, if you could just explain to the commission what it is that you're looking for here.
Yes, sir. The Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, kind of go a little background for you. I'm a 1999 graduate of the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, proud graduate of the academy. We are coming for you today to introduce ourselves as an agency. And we want to give you a brief background about our agency and the mission, explain why we come before this panel in hopes of becoming post compliant. We have executive staff and law enforcement leadership here today. I have Deputy Director Brandon Ware, General Counsel Tori Grimes, State Law Enforcement Training Coordinator Dustin Deaton, and our Lieutenant Colonel Matt Majors, who's over our training and boating division. The Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency is responsible for many tasks and duties related to wildlife and their habitats. We also have a huge task of ensuring the safety of our boaters on our public waterways. Those laws and regulations lie within Tennessee Code annotated Chapter 69 and 70. The first game warden dates back to the early 1900s. For the last 75 plus years, our agency has been responsible for sustaining wildlife populations and habitats for all of those who live or visit Tennessee seeking outdoor recreation. We are overseen by an appointed 13-member Game and Fish Commission who have scheduled meetings throughout the year to seek input for the public and agency staff on seasons, regulations, and to maintain transparency in everything that the agency does. While we have many divisions employing more than 600 dedicated professionals who help manage biodiversity, fisheries, populations, land management, and many other administrative tasks, within the agency, we have an embedded law enforcement division as the face of our great agency. With approximately 250 college-educated commissioned officers, we're responsible for thousands of calls of service each year, ranging from injured wildlife, hunting, fishing violations, wildland search and rescue, and boating incident response. Additionally, the agency partners with TEMA for statewide response to major incidents, provides boating and hunter safety classes to those who enjoy our woods and waters, OHV enforcement and education on hundreds of thousands of state-owned property acres for those enthusiasts, and partners with dozens of other law enforcement agencies statewide to serve our communities. From Memphis to Mountain City, we are law enforcement off the pavement. For my career working for Tenebray, I have vowed to increase professionalism and accountability through my own actions for the agency. Through time, we've really tightened up our policies and procedures and operate with a mission to serve the outdoor sportsmen and sportswomen and boaters of our state. In 2019, Like many other game and fish agencies across the country, we began our own Tennessee Wildlife Officer Training Academy, which consisted of 26 weeks of intensive law enforcement and wildlife officer training. After 5 years, we refocused our training to embed Toledo back into our training plan. While we still operate our Tennessee Wildlife Officer Training Academy, we really attribute much of our field success to other law enforcement agencies to understand who we are and our subject matter jurisdiction is. TWRA has begun to seek accreditation through the North American Wildlife Law Enforcement Accreditation, or NALIA, for this past year. We have begun to refine our directives even more, sharpen our procedures, and create general orders specifically for professional law enforcement staff. During this process, we've determined that post-compliance will pair well with NALIA accreditation, thus holding our officers to the highest standards possible. We're fully aware that we are not statutorily required to be under post. However, we want to be held to the highest standards, and coming under post would certainly show our intent to be the same standards as any other Tennessee peace officer. Today, we ask for your approval to move forward to post compliance and continue to hold this incredible agency to the highest standard. If approved, we are seeking direction on how to handle existing officers' psychological and medical forms, and also how to transition our most recent 75 officers that have graduated from our own Tennessee Wildlife Officer Training Academy over the past few years. Thanks for your time, and we'll entertain any questions.
And so the issue really is just that, that group of 75 are sitting in no man's land as far as trying to call them post-compliant, because their academy was never post-approved. If their medical and psychologicals are never on the post forms, how can we accept those to be in compliance with our rules? And so it would really fall. There's been some suggestions and some options floated around for that group, whether it be some kind of transition school or something like that. It really falls to this group to decide what kind of bar that you want to set for that, for that group to say that, yes, you now meet the standard and you're post compliant.
What other agencies are post compliant rather than post certified?
Well, this kind of gets into a rabbit hole and a really gray, odd, murky area, because to call yourself post compliant, really the only difference is you're not getting a salary supplement. But it does fall into different categories. So such as, TWRA, Tennessee State Parks, THP, they're state agencies, and they don't fall under post by law or post rule. They don't have to do anything in the post rules if they don't want to. They're a standalone thing that doesn't fall under post. Most of them choose to stay in line with our rules and regulations just because that's best practice and then what makes sense. Hey, what regular local law enforcement are doing and the standards that will be held for them, that's what we're going to do because it sets a standard across the board in our state. So to say who's post compliant and who isn't, it kind of just depends on the flavor of the month. I mean, there's times where you have folks that are post compliant and then new administration and new leadership takes over, and then they may or may not kind of do what's post compliant for a few years. Then they kind of come back in under us, and it does kind of tend to make things murky and put folks in black holes.
It's kind of one of those things that just needs to be statutorily cleaned up.
Third time today.
Like constables.
Here we go. Here we go.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Kind of. Colonel, good morning.
Morning, sir.
I'm Sheriff Chad Martin, Commissioner here at the Post Commission, and I have had a lot of bad things to say about your agency in the past. Nothing personal, I hope, but I've just been upset. What got me upset, Colonel, is I was on this commission and some predecessor or some decision maker over there at the Austin Sheriff's Agency decided to pull out of the Post Commission, and it just blew my mind. And after we had denied starting of this academy, I think my mind is starting to get fogged. There's been a lot of drama here in the last 7 years. And then I hear that TWRA wants to come back and talk to Post and come back to the State Academy. And I had a lot of words to say about that. And I'm like, are we getting in? Are we getting out? What are we doing? What's the flavor of the month? And oh, hell, what happened to those officers in all those years that went to this training? And then we've had all these big time court cases, and we've had these defense attorneys probably drilling some of your enforcement officers on some stands, maybe in federal court, state court. I don't know, but I guarantee the first thing comes up is training records and this and that, and learning about Fourth Amendment rights and all kinds of things, and search and seizure. And, they train on that down here, as you know, because you're a 99 graduate. And I think some of those folks behind you are graduates down here. Is that what you announced?
Sure, they are.
And you want the rest of your folks that work under your command to be graduates of that and get that good, solid training, right?
Absolutely.
So I apologize for being so hard on y'all. It's not your problem. Who was impotent wisdom was it to do this crap?
So I will say that everyone that's here with me today, from my lieutenant colonels and up in this administration, we are all in our different roles now, and we're all on board.
Just tell me they're all gone.
They are gone.
Okay, all right, let's move on. That's good. I like you already. Let's just get down to it. Can we start scheduling transition school to these 75 somehow gradually? I mean, these guys are really good at what they do, and they're very good. And, all of them are college graduates. It's required to have a BS degree. Most of them are biologists, if not. Hell, some of them could probably be loggers in a short amount of time. They're one of the most educated badge and gun toters in the state. I feel confident that they would meet the standards. I mean, Ralph, Director, you would know more than any, but I think we've got some already over here going through first class in several years.
Yes, sir. And the decision to make changes moving forward, not a problem. That's the easy part. It's the ones that are in that gap that are the difficult ones. Is to how do we, if we're going to say that they're.
We come up with a special challenge test or something for them?
I think that would open up a slippery slope.
Yeah, well, I just throw that out.
I wonder if, obviously compliance with our psychological and medical forms would be the case, and then I don't know how we would dive into training records.
We went through this one time years ago with Arnold Air Force Base security. Same thing. They got in, and then change of our Air Force Colonel Commander and his infinite wisdom turned them back loose into, I mean, they're not in their own agency now. They got green lights blinking, but
maybe the transition school.
I suggest
be ideal.
Transitional school. I mean, it'll take a little while, but I know they're hard workers and they get it done.
Yeah,
that can be online, correct?
And a big chunk of it's online, so that portion of it wouldn't be difficult. It would be probably just scheduling some of the in-person stuff. And that may just be something of our staff getting with their staff to figure out some dates and calendar dates. And it may not look as our typical transition school. We may have to kind of space that out a little bit to kind of work that around everybody's schedules. But we can probably make that happen over the next upcoming months. Red light, green light. Go ahead.
So, yes. That's what I was going to ask. If we're looking at doing a transitional school, you got 75 officers that are spread out all across the state. If you were trying to bring them in groups or numbers, that's what I was going to offer. If there's a way that maybe we could go to them at certain times and spread this out over time. That way, those communities are not taking such a hit to do that, because I know there's got to be somewhere along the way, agencies came to Post that already had officers that were out in the field or on patrol or whatever. And there had to have been something that this commission has done in the past when new agencies come in for the existing officers, not only just the ones going forward. So that's what I would wonder, what was previously done in years past, maybe that occurred, but if anything, going forward, if that is a possibility of consideration, is finding a good way to work with this agency to make sure that they're not taking a hit from a lack of manpower because of the time restraints.
Well, and another point too, Chairman Doggett, is I worry about, that many spread across 95 counties from Mountain City to Memphis. The financial impact of travel, stay. I mean, there is a financial burden there on the taxpayer. And I mean, this command staff didn't create this mess, but we're here to help clean it up. But I also want to make sure that we have a financial responsibility to. The on the road show, we're going on the road, and
Yeah, we can certainly make that happen. And supervisor of our transit school program, Kat Cooper, if you want to throw your 2 cents in.
So, it was a couple of years back, we went from basically having 2 or 3 transition schools a year to going to once a month. Since then, we've been able to really cut down on how we get into transition school. As it stands, we're rarely even full. We may only have 1 or 2 classes a year that we consider full capacity, which is about 20 officers. So, we would be able to at least get in probably 5, I would say on average, every single month. Our team as it stands right now, we travel a lot, all over the state to offer different types of specialized training. I don't think it's totally out of the question that we could take maybe one of these on the road, but certainly we definitely could get them into monthly classes starting pretty soon.
I think the way the commission might need to move forward is we set the standard of what we want them to do. And as far as logistics are concerned, let the academy staff and post staff be the ones to coordinate that. They're able to operate outside of, in their current role. So it's not an issue of they're not able to police or do what they need to do. From what I understand, it seems like there's a good consensus that a transition school would probably be a good idea. And then also they move towards our psychological and medical forms to remain uniform with everyone else. Outside of that, that's the standard. What's the commission's thoughts on that being the standard we expect? And again, that's transition school and then using our psychological and medical forms. And then after that, they handle the logistics and the timeline and what fits best for both agencies, both post and TWRA.
so what is on their psychologicals? Is there a difference on their psychological examinations? Are they physician's assistants signed off, or is a doctor of psychology?
No, I think the issue is that it's not a post form that's signed that they're fit for duty.
Okay.
So
They got the special form, or they got the constable form.
There it is. Commissioner Jeffers, before we get too far down that rabbit hole, I just want to wind up saying that I'm in support of what your agency is trying to do. As a former law enforcement officer, there's been several times that your officers have backed me up on calls. And, I've also seen through my years of experience, I've seen different things become merged and different things happen, from commercial vehicle enforcement magically becoming troopers to Capitol Police magically becoming troopers overnight. So there's the merger of different things. That's just the dynamic of where we're at. And I think that is something that you all need. Especially just much as recently, because I know I've got some people in my home county that work for you all that, got hauled down to Memphis, to wind up doing law enforcement duties, down there as required of them. And I think that by bringing you into compliance, that it not only benefits your agency, but I think it'll also benefit the citizens of Tennessee as we need more personnel to wind up assisting with different things. You all will be there to do that. And so that's just my 10 cents worth. And so, but I appreciate it. And I support what it is you're doing.
Chief Lang.
Well, I'm not opposed to the transition. First, let me say I'm going to have to abstain from any vote on this, but I do have some comments. I know, is there any, and I don't even know if this would be an option, but I know, and this goes way back. When post was implemented originally, I know there was a lot of officers that were requirements that were grandfathered in. And is there any will in this body to grandfather those 75 in? And I guess I have a question. Are you guys doing 40 hours in service every year now? Qualifying with your handguns every
We
year?
are correct. And I would like to offer that those 75, we have matched or exceeded post recommendations, post requirements every year for those 75. We have those records. And to your point of what you're speaking about, I guess I'll ask Captain Pete to come up and speak about the grandfathering piece of the previous officers from that.
Yes, so a lot of our previous or our current officers that have been longstanding, great officers, their paperwork is not what we would, it's not on the post form. A lot of that is because the post form wasn't a thing when they either got hired or we were in that gray zone of whether we do or we don't. But every officer has a psych, every officer has a medical, but it's not on the right letterhead form per se. It does say in there fit for duty or some sort of verbiage to that standing, but it's not on that exact form that we would really need for those existing officers needs either a grandfather in or, me getting with whoever to identify like, yes, this is acceptable, yes, or no, this is not, or however we need to.
Okay, well, when I was talking about the grandfathering, I definitely wasn't referencing you guys. I've worked with, and I know that kind of tells my age, but I've worked with some folks early in my career that didn't go to an academy. They were trained on the job. And that's what I was wondering. I know they had some grandfathering laws in that. And as long as I would even support that if we had, as long as even those 75, from here on out, met all the post requirements, did everything. Their agency was in ACADIS. We had the forms that he's describing. They may not be on the right form, but that is a foundational document that you could have in the file. I know to Sheriff Barton's point, it's going to be this is going to be huge. If they were to go back and send them all to psych test, it's going to be a huge financial burden to do this. And so y'all may have unlimited funds. I don't know. But that would
And I don't disagree with you, Chief. I think it just depends on fundamentally on where you're trying to go and what you're trying to accomplish.
Right.
As a state agency, they're not required to do anything, which is why they're fine operating the way they are. But if they're trying to say they're post compliant and you grandfather them in, how are you saying they're compliant with a post standard if they're not meeting the standard? You know what I mean? So where this is going to become an issue is for those agents, for those officers that come through here, become graduates or post compliance, their stuff's in ACADIS, and they leave ABC, they leave state parks, and they go to a local agency. We then turn around, look at their stuff and go, oh, yeah, we saw they went to an academy, they've done all their stuff, we got all their forms, and we turn around and we issue them a post certificate and link the bridge. That would be difficult to do knowing that there's a gap and we're just going to grandfather them and blanket cover them because we know that there's a hole there that we can't confirm or know what standard they met. Does that make sense?
Well, it does, but if we have documents that are that they may not be on the right form, but they're in the spirit of what it was. I don't know. I think that those agencies back for the guys that were grandfathered in, they all were still post certified, even though these guys had never been in an academy before. So that's my 2 cents. I'll be quiet.
Sure. I see your point, and the main question I would have is not so much is it on the right form, but the qualifications of who was giving the psychological. Yes, because we had that discussion a few months ago on what would be acceptable there. So that's my fear on the grandfathering is who gave the psychological, and if it's the same qualifications, okay, but compliance is compliance.
So basically, if we wanted to move this process forward in the form of a motion, it would be to starting just like in the language here on the agenda, request to comply with post standards by meeting pre-employment and training requirements pursuant. So with that being said, would you need to wind up doing the rules that is set there on this document in the agenda, plus attending a transition school in order to put them on the right path for that, or how would the language need to be done?
Well, I'll give you an option. What you could do, what you could consider is, we could leave the medical and psychological documents alone, make them do transition school and bridge the academy gap.
Okay.
The only way, it'll only impact the individual if they leave TWRA and go to a local agency.
They're gonna get excited.
Because they wouldn't be able to use the previous psychological and medical, then it would fall on the new agency to possibly get a new one. So that would probably remove the burden from the state and put it back on an agency if they were hiring somebody to come from TWRA. If that makes any
And
sense.
then at that point, it saves them from having to pay for any updated sites on people that are serving without issue. But it gets them compliant on the academy-based training that we want to see to give them a.
I think that's a great compromise to not put any undue burden on the agency. And because they're a state agency and they don't fall under post, it doesn't really impact them one way or the other. But it would financially if we make them go back and get 75 brand new psychological medicals. And again, it would only impact the individual should they decide at some point in the future to leave TWRA and go to a local agency, because then we would require the updated forms.
So legal, how do I need to make that motion?
I've got you two other minutes. Let's let them finish. What are your thoughts?
Staff to do something, right? So,
And you guys have a CADIS access and we walked through that and everything. You could spit your in-service training, your packets and all that
Correct.
stuff.
For our current people, yes, we're hung up is on the backlog of everyone that's pre-this class.
And
Well,
again,
it's not just that gap, it's everyone before that as well.
Yes.
They went to Toledo, but we don't have a good paper trail we would have to redo them.
and that's something that we can kind of, if we want to put something on the calendar to kind of get you to come in and we can sit down as a staff and computer to computer and records and we'll figure out something.
Absolutely.
So.
My question is for them. I was gonna ask, at this point going forward, are you using the post forms for medical and psychological?
Yes,
Is that what you're doing now? So is the psychological and the medical evaluation, is it the same as what a deputy sheriff would get or city
Yes,
police officer?
as far as, like, when I was hired in 2012, we went to a state, whichever one was on contract for psychological evaluation. We got a psychological evaluation, we got a medical evaluation. We've always done that. But we never had it on that piece of paper that says, posted for, yes, fit for duty, not fit for duty. It was just the report, the medical.
Commissioner Green, I just want to congratulate you. I appreciate the effort you're making on accreditation and then the steps you're taking now to be more professional, at least in the public's eyes, because I know you are an agency, but I think it's good that you're taking these steps. And as Commissioner Lane said, it's not cheap. So I appreciate those efforts. Thank you.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of Commissioner Green, I don't know if you guys understand the mountain of paperwork and records that they're having to go through and sift through and try and get to us. We've been going back and forth for months and I'm surprised you have any hair left because I'm sure you've been, I've sensed the frustration because it's a pain in the neck. It really is.
Commissioner Leggett.
Yes, so I know when I went to the academy, I had some TWRA officers in my academy class. The paperwork that they sent in for their psych and then their physical when they was hired, did they send that in a post then?
Probably not. So a lot of the state agencies that don't get a post certificate will send that application for the academy straight to the academy. And then the academy reviews it and says, yep, we got a diploma, they're using the same post standard, but it's not coming through post. they're just double checking it at the academy to make sure that they meet those standards because they understand they're not getting a post certificate once they graduate.
So they didn't send in any form of, psychological or.
They would have, yeah, if you're gonna come to Toledo and
So what?
And you
form did
submit
they
an
send that
application.
in?
Their own, they sent that form in.
We accepted it at the time?
For the academy, yes,
for the academy.
Okay.
but not for post-cert because they never going to get one once they graduated.
They get the academy certificate, they just don't get the seconds post certificate.
Right.
So
I got you.
if my understanding, then you're inquiring about what motion needs to be made, send them to transition school that would make them post compliant.
I'm waiting on my legal advisor.
All right.
That sounds about as close to a motion. I mean, we're asking to essentially to facilitate this post compliance, which I don't know, like a singular thing that needs to happen. There's a lot of things that need to happen.
It's probably something that directs post staff to work with TWRA to.
For the transition schools.
Mr. Chairman, I've got an opportunity right here standing in front of me that I may not ever get again in life.
I'm glad I got the good things said first.
Oh,
Yeah. He righted it.
Colonel of TWRA right here. We got, and as a colonel, as a chief law enforcement executive in the state of Tennessee, I'd like to hear your opinion to the members of this board. What is your thoughts, being that you've seen what your agency's been through? You've seen the reaction to a wild-tailed sheriff in the past. And you've heard my comments about constables. You've heard about THP, ABC. Everybody that carries a gun and a badge, it's under the purview of the Tennessee Constitution and the United States Constitution that's here in this state. What is your personal opinion, if you don't mind giving it to us, that we all work with our General Assembly members to get us all on one level page and all come under one compliance of rules so that 10 years down the road, after you and I are retired and gone, that your replacement doesn't come in and do this again? What is your thoughts? I mean, you may be scared to say that like I am, but I think we should all be under one umbrella so that we protected everybody. Everybody should be. If you're carrying a gun and a badge in this state, we should all be under those same rules, and that way there's no doubt, there's just no question. Well, I'd like to hear your opinion.
You're correct, that we don't want to violate anyone's rights, and we want the citizens to know that we are held to the same standards as any other law enforcement agency in the state, and all law enforcement agencies should have the same training. And so the public can have confidence in us, and then that's kind of where we're at. We want to leave this, when I retire, I want this agency to be post compliant, just like any other officer agency of the state. That's my wish.
Thank you. I'm gonna second your motion.
Okay, well, I don't think we've had one made, so let's circle back and go there. It's essentially hearing from Director Bello and legal. We're looking for a motion that accepts their current psychological and medical forms, but requires those to go through a transition school and they will become post compliant. We don't want to stick a timeline on there just because that puts an undue burden on both the agency and post. But hearing from them, that's kind of the essential of what we're looking for.
Is that where we're at legal? I agree. That's my motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jeffers. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Parker.
I want it highly noted that the sheriff, that sits, one of the two sheriffs sat on this board, second it, and I'm with you. And I'm looking forward to, I'm looking forward to bringing you back home.
Dare I ask any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right, we have our path forward. Thank y'all for
I'm glad I know that since I've been on this commission, I feel make a positive input.
Have you renewed your fishing license lately?
Put it on automatic. Just don't even worry about it. Good luck, gentlemen. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, Unicoi County Sheriff's Office.
All right, Unicoi County Sheriff's Office requests reinstatement of certification for Jonathan Vincent Dismaris. Mr. Dismaris was certification was revoked October 29th, 2021, as a result of a commission vote to issue a default order of decertification. And the agency is here. If you guys would just identify yourself for the record, please.
Frank Rogers, Chief Deputy for Unicoi County Sheriff's Office, Agency Representative.
John Damaris, applicant.
Thank you, gentlemen.
What can I,
Good.
I guess, what can you tell us? This was a default, I guess, for not appearing, although it was almost 5 years ago. What's happened since then?
Well, I'd have to back up a little bit and be able to explain this.
Okay.
To you. I was employed by the Irwin Police Department. When I became decertified, received a letter from Post after leaving Irwin Police Department. I was shocked to find out that I'd been decertified by the Post. I resigned from the Irwin Police Department because of some things that were happening there, because I was a whistleblower at the time. I didn't see the point coming before this board and filing an appeal to have my word against the chief's word when his words so carry credibility. It's only now that the cow's been let out of the barn. So I'm coming forth trying to reseek my employment in law enforcement, a career that I love very much.
And I take it Unicoi County Sheriffs want to hire you?
Yes, sir.
And you've done a background check, checked out everything?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions from other commissioners? This was before my time.
This is Commissioner Green, I would almost think we ought to at least schedule it for an informal. As opposed to moving forward, again, going back to what he said about a he said, she said, we're only hearing one side now. And we ought to at least give the city that asked for decertification an opportunity to at least come forward and then we can move forward. But I'll make a motion to do it informal.
No further discussion.
Hold on one second. We do have a motion to move to an informal. Do we have a second on that? And then we can, second, now we can have discussion just for procedure.
Your police chief of Irwin, right? Is that who you were working under, sir?
Yes, sir, Chief Reagan Tills.
Isn't he up for some kind of issue here with us right now?
Sir, he was up for decertification yesterday. He did not appear. It was a default and you voted today to accept it.
And he's the guy that submitted to have this guy decertified?
That was prior to me. I do not know the name on the document.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of.
If you'd like to know what was submitted,
I would love to know.
it differs a little bit from what's being told. We have on file a failed psychological that was submitted to us on August 21st. I'm a little familiar because I'm the one the chief reached out to, submitted the documentation, and I was doing decertification back in 2021. So he was submitted up for decertification for failure to meet and maintain pre-employment requirements for having a failed psychological, and they submitted from decertification based on those grounds. So I don't know about the he said, she said, or what's going on, whistleblowing. It was based on failed psychological.
So when did he fail the psychological? I how long when did you go to work at the police department?
I believe I went to work for the Irwin Police Department in 2015.
Okay, and this all came about in what year?
2021.
2021.
So we went from 2015 to 2021, and this guy's been working the streets
No, he's been out since then.
since 2015?
2021.
2021, right. So, but he did work from 15 to 21.
And they resubmitted him for another psychological, which he failed in August of 2021, and they submitted him for
And
decertification.
do we know why he was why this department resubmitted for that? Can be
According to his letter, PTSD.
And we just let somebody go through here on a PTSD a minute ago.
Well, Unicoi County, have you sent him for a psychological yet?
We have, and I have a current qualification form on the Post document that is dated December 9, 2025, where he was resubmitted. I'd be happy to present for them.
My question is, failing to have a valid psychological is what takes away the certification, not the decision of the informal committee So you can have a not qualified or a not qualified psychological examination. You're no longer certified, or you can no longer be employed, but once you get that qualified back, you're good to go. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was, but again, it was up to the chief at the time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The man's here. Chief Deputy of Unicoi County is here right now. And I know how many hours it is to Unicoi County. It's a long ways. But the man that submitted the information has been terminated and decertified as of yesterday. And if we go into an informal, we're gonna have
back to this.
We're just right back to where we're at. If he shows up, he didn't show up yesterday, but I mean, I just don't know what we're here. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I guess, and I go back by history in the past where we've had one person come in, the head of the agency, or even.
Well, the head of the agency has been fired by the city of Irwin and decertified.
But let's say the city may want to represent this too, or there could be somebody else within the city that wants to present their side of it. That's the only thing I know in the past, that's what we've done, is when the agency head or their representative hasn't been present to speak to a decertification, we've not moved forward without hearing their side. And I remember it was a sheriff's agency, and
yeah, even if it's something as simple as they stand up and say, we don't wish to pursue this.
if we get that, then that's a different story. But just to have come in here and then going back to discussion to say, I didn't want to come last time because I didn't think I'd be heard, but now all of a sudden this guy's gone, so now I can come, because there may not be retaliation from him, but there may be somebody else in the agency or the city that has comments. I think in fairness, without just overruling, that's my thought.
I believe this is gonna be whatever your pleasure. We can act on it now. We can act on it at an informal.
I'd like to, I mean, we're still in discussion, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, but I'd like to act on it now.
Okay.
Myself, because with the, I just don't want to drag that police chief, evidently had something going on. I'm here, whistleblower. This man may be the reason that police chief's not here. But I don't want, we set an informal, and the police chief, we're not gonna get him back. If he didn't show up yesterday for his own certification, I don't see how he's gonna show back up a month from
It
now.
doesn't have to be him, because like
Just someone
yesterday,
from
we
the
had
agency.
someone from the agency come who had nothing to do with the original decertification, but he still came
Yes,
up and
right.
said,
And I understand that when you're referencing the letter, it might have some corresponding information as to what the chief was up for decertification for. So that might be something, and the agency themselves may not want to comment or engage in that because they have some liability. You had something to add, though, sir?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. If it was a commission, and I know that this is hearsay to some degree, but prior to making application for this board to certify Mr. Damaris, I reached out to the interim police chief of the town of Irwin now, Tony Buchanan, and I asked him if the town of Irwin has any reason that the Unicoi County Sheriff's Office should consider to not employ Mr. Damaris, and he said no. I said, is there anything in the personnel file or any grievance that the town has that's going to cause a conflict or hard feelings between us, for a reason why we shouldn't hire him? And he indicated to me that there was no reason why we shouldn't hire him.
Part of the process of reinstatement, if the board should decide to vote to reinstate Mr. Damaris, is that you'd have to go back to a basic academy to get his certification, unless you're going to try and undo the default. I don't know, that gets kind of complicated. But that's typically been the practice of the commission, is if you're coming back and being reinstated, they've got to go back to a basic academy. I don't know if anybody made you aware of that, if you understood that.
I'm not aware of it. I'm not aware of it. I hired him initially in 2013 and sent him to the academy. And one of the reasons why we're trying to jump through this hoop is, you know, as we try to keep certified officers on the road, we have a department with, 25 law enforcement officers. And the time that it takes to get an officer certified to work, and we're sending them down for 12 weeks, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but it's a struggle for us to maintain officers on the road. I don't know what the difference between that one procedural vote to decertify and attending the academy would be. I understand that might be the standard, You know, I've already sent him to the academy and paid for it once. And I'm trying to hire him back to try to get some use out of that investment that we had already made. So whatever the commission, you know, dictates, we certainly respect and appreciate it. We're just here throwing ourselves at the mercy of the commission to say, you know, there was a letter submitted by Mr. Damaris that explains the incident that led to his resignation. And I would ask the commission to read that and consider it. And we will submit to whatever the commission.
He's been out of law enforcement since 21.
So
Is he?
transition school.
He's within transition school, so if we were to reinstate him to good standing, then he would just be looking at the transition school, is that right?
Well, and that's kind of what we were discussing is I'm not sure how you unwind the default and get around and just make that disappear.
Is the time lapse of it, the time of appealing has elapsed.
Was he placed on it? Yeah.
Yes.
So it sounds like that we have a few legal questions that we're not prepared to answer at this point. There is a motion on the floor in a second, correct? At this point, before for further discussion, I don't know if we're gonna be prepared to answer some of the questions today. It sounds like we might need some more legal questions answered. Would you be open, so we don't have to vote on something hardline today, to move this to another month, maybe next month, and then you guys can appear over Zoom? That
Yes,
way we can save you guys, and we'll try to, if necessary, we can get, I believe, was it Irwin meeting? Yes, we can get them on Zoom, but save you guys some drive time, but make sure we have all of our questions answered.
Chief, what, is he working for you right now?
He is. I'm using him in a limited capacity for administrative.
You understand that's exactly what you gotta be doing,
Yes, sir.
you know, like pushing paper and senior outreach kind of phone calls of a morning kind of deal?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, because you'll get your agency, you know, people, sheriffs and police chiefs forget, he's not certified, he's decertified. And no blue lights, no guns, no law enforcement kind of stuff, you understand that, okay? Don't want to get Unicoi County messed up, okay?
Yeah, and Sheriff, it might not hurt to have a letter from that assistant chief or chief out. So it's not hearsay, and that would answer my questions.
Yes, sir. I understand. I will absolutely reiterate that. Forward.
I mean, I'll look at it real back. I feel like we may be going on some new plowed ground here that we've not been down before, but we'll figure it out. And I understand the stress that Unicoi County is under. And I personally want to try to resolve this situation.
Thank you, Sheriff.
So I'll move to rescind my motion.
All right, so the motion has been rescinded, and again, our legal is asking for a month. If we can get a motion to table this for 1 month and then allow Unicoi County and the Irwin Police to appear via Zoom next time to save them some drive time.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Green. Second. Who was second? Commissioner Jackson. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Try to save you all some drive time next time.
Thank you.
Great, moving on to the academy.
And the last matter we have here, is,
We should have talked about it's not the last time, because I added some of the.
Second last, and we have
You
public
did.
comments.
and I also have a question to ask you.
We got you. I got you on there.
I'm having a hard time, very hard time. A lot of people speaking at once, and
I'm sorry.
please keep in mind that I'm still here. Thank you.
Everybody good or do we need a brief recess? I know a couple folks have stepped out. Let's take a 5-minute recess and then reconvene at 12.
Rest in peace. Don't forget it.
to ensure that these agencies aren't struggling so much getting the correct training entered into a cadence, if that makes sense.
It sounds like you've got the problem identified, you've got it rectified, and then some controls are in place to make sure it doesn't happen again. You're just asking us, we've got a waiver issue for quite a bit of officers that we need to deal with. Everyone acted on good faith. It's just, I'm concerned if we try to, a waiver is a blanket issue or a blanket fix to this. And it sounds like the best option, because if we start going individually, we could run into some audit purpose issues later on. And you're talking 200 officers, or I'm sorry, how many officers?
Well, so just to break this down, we had 288 agencies in 2025 that actually took the academy training. 200 of those agencies were impacted by this, which equals 272 officers roughly, or 2,072 officers, excuse me. So that would essentially be 2,100 waivers that would have to be generated for the agencies to create, send to us, post a process, and then to ultimately bring before you. And that, I mean, to be quite honest, I don't think that that's realistic.
I will be honest with you, I'm in my 34th year and I've never sat at a computer training in my entire career. So we're in the middle of in-service at home right now. We're in person. We have a few accounts, and, for somebody that's, maybe had a baby or went on military leave or their staff, we keep a few of those V Academy accounts open so that they can. But overall, I do in person. But what is it, just generic? I mean, is it Tennessee? Is it Tennessee instructors? Or they talk about Tennessee law? What's in there? Or is it just, could instructional V Academy be the same in Tennessee as it is in California? Because, we're total opposites of California on about everything. But I mean, what's in there? I don't know what you're training them.
Well, I mean, the folks from Big Academy are here if you'd like to spend time in.
Well, yeah, that's all right. I'm gonna put them on the spot and they may not want me to, but are we to the point where we need to do our own video academy, Tennessee based?
So
A lot of them are.
some of them
Are
are,
they?
and after meeting with the academy last week, it did come up in our meeting that they're more than happy to work with posts and us to be able, to offer up experts in certain, areas that they'll gladly come and record. Some of them offer for officers in Tennessee.
Well, where I'm going with this is the people I want on that video screen, that computer screen, I want to be Tennesseans dealing with Tennessee issues, talking about Tennessee realities, like we had this happen in Memphis, we had this happen in Jackson, we had this happen in Manchester, don't do this kind of training. And this is what's going on. This is TCA code. This is the Tennessee case law. I want it all Tennessee related. I could care less what's going on in Georgia, Florida, New York. What I care about is what's going on in Tennessee, so that my deputies in Tennessee and police officers in Tennessee have real Tennessee reality.
I'll say on the V Academy courses that I've taken, and even some this week, they are referred to Tennessee. I think there's a couple that even Academy staff are the ones leading on there.
Well, like I said, I've never been before, so I'm.
Where I've seen that, maybe not recently, but in the past, I've seen Academy staff on there. So there is that ability. I guess we're at the fort. How we address the academy in the future, but how we fix the issue that's before us today are kind of two different things. But Chief Lane, you had something to add.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, when you were saying that, Sheriff, I've taken the last 2 years, I've utilized the academy on a few of the mandated courses, and they were all specific to Tennessee. Really good courses, and it gives you some flexibility. Unlike you, I'd rather go sit in a classroom, but sometimes because of our schedules, you can't do that. And so I thought the training was really good. I mean, and like you said, some of them were academy instructors from Toledo.
I agree. Commissioner Green.
I was just going to mention the catalog that the Academy has is actually broken down by state. So the Tennessee courses, especially mandated courses, are under Tennessee. And then if you wanted the general course, say like internal affairs, if you've got somebody moving to internal affairs, That's more a generic course that would come across general course requirements. So unless somebody goes in and picks the wrong class in the wrong category in the catalog, it shouldn't be a problem. Well, I'll say it doesn't happen, but
I'll give you an example. My chief investigator got denied from here, not this last go around on a class he picked on V Academy. It was not post approved. And I'm like, well, what the hell's it doing on there? It's not post approved. Why is it on V Academy?
So I can add a little bit.
Okay, yeah, I'm just curious. I'm.
Yeah, and that's kind of the issue that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
That's the exact issue.
So
Yeah.
essentially what happened, the trainings that were being taken on the academy by agencies, a lot of those should have been categorized as general in-service training, basically meaning it did not include a mandate. When we got the automated report that gets sent to us, they were miscategorized. So they were actually given credit for taking maybe a CSA or an MI or an EVOC, and it hadn't actually been approved to be one of those. So
I just remembered that. It dawned on me a minute ago. Hey, command staff.
And we're working with V Academy to put measures in place to prevent that from
Well,
happening.
it's more of a just
Cleanup issue.
yes.
So what is it? So, Mr. Jeffers, so I mean, I'll go ahead and get to the meat of the issue here. So what do we have to do to make these officers whole? That way they get their salary supplement?
We're looking for a general waiver for officers that took the incorrect class on the academy to waiver them for their mandatory in-service.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Green, I'll second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jeffers, second by Commissioner Green. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. So we got the waiver. Hopefully that helps with the audits.
And I do want to clarify, the waiver that we're suggesting, is that it would keep the officers in compliance, but they also will be eligible for salary supplement.
That's good.
So when I get to go home and tell my man, it's gonna be good.
He's gonna be all right.
Chief, that cleans up your question earlier.
Yeah, and if for whatever reason, the officer doesn't qualify for salary supplement because there's some other issue, then the normal rules would apply. This is just specific to those miscategorized folks that were impacted by this. So, real quick before we jump into Commissioner Green's request to talk about scheduled formal hearings. Last month, we had a report from Kevin Creed about the matter at Millington, the Training Officers Association. He referred the two gentlemen to the informal. We're having some issues scheduling one of the individuals for the informal hearing. He works for a training company and travels a lot, and every date we've thrown at him, he's gone out of the state traveling. He did request.
I'm sorry, I've got to think about it. Is he a Tennessee post certified officer?
He is post certifiable because he is now inactive because he's not full time. All he would need to do is get hired.
I do want to say he's never gonna show up.
Well, he had asked the commission to consider him over soon.
I dare him to show up.
I told him I would present that before the commission. Another thing to consider is, do you want both of them to appear at the same meeting?
Well, sure.
Up to you guys, because that could help with some of the scheduling and trying to get them scheduled. Because one particular month, one can come, but the other can't. And so we're trying to find a month somewhere in the year where they both can be here. So
If he's listening, Mr. Executive President, whatever you are, I challenge you to show up there, please. Please.
Trying to get both scheduled.
both scheduled at the same time and in person, not over Zoom.
That'd be great.
That's all I need to know.
Thank you, sir.
New schedule, Commissioner Green.
So, Commissioner Green, I've had some discussions with Ralph about some options and with legal, that one of the things, because our formal hearings run so long, and at some point we need a break, and we've talked about some different options. One would be is to move, where we're having them on Thursday at 1, which we voted on, to move it to noon, so we gain an extra hour. If it runs beyond 6 o'clock, that it would roll over to Friday afternoon to finish up. That our judicial judge is here for both days normally, or at least slotted for both days. Or, as Director Bello and I discussed earlier, is there's an option of we move informals to every other month. And we do a full day of formal on Thursday. I don't know about that, okay.
Can I say, oh, no, nothing about that. I just wanted to, sorry, Ashley Ball. We're scheduled, out through May with respondents that have already agreed to that. So just so y'all know, it will be, whatever you all decide would be June going forward. I just wanted to.
Yeah, and I mean, because the decertifications that we're getting in currently, we're pretty caught up and there's not a backlog. So we can afford to kind of miss a month or two as needed. And we can always do it on a Friday after the regular meeting and then just approve that the next month if needed. So there's a little flexibility with the informal. So if time's an issue, we can certainly kind of keep bumping it up on Thursdays, either 12, 10, whatever the case may be, and just kind of move the informal around if that suits the commission a little better as far as length of time for those hearings.
I think scheduling a whole day, maybe starting at 9:30 would be ideal, just because we don't know how long they can go. It can be 7 hours or longer. And then we're stuck listening and deliberating, and that way we have the whole day. Also, some people drive from very far away.
Well, and I know the last one we had, I won't say we forced it to cut off early, but we hastened the process, and it didn't impact, I don't think, the decision. But we want to give the parties a fair time, but we also don't want to, we're so tired of listening to the thing that we can't take a break. We're trying to be tactful about that as best I can. So I've opened up the discussion before I make a motion.
What would anyone think of starting in July, going to every other month of informal hearings? And then when there's on Thursdays, when there's not an informal hearing on that Thursday, that is when we schedule our formals. Any thoughts, feedback?
Commissioner Green, I'll make a motion that every other month, starting in July, we schedule no informal on Thursday, and we schedule a formal hearing at 9:30, beginning at 9:30 that morning.
Commissioner Jefferson.
Got a motion by Commissioner Green, second by Commissioner Jeffers. Any discussion?
Yeah, what's gonna happen when they start to continue on them? So you've got that whole day scheduled out for formals, and you're gonna have that last minute submittal and go, oh, Parton's gonna be there. We're gonna continue this until he's off the post commission. What's gonna happen? On that day, you're just gonna have a blank day.
I imagine we don't have anything else scheduled that day.
And then you've got a wasted Thursday.
We try our best to kind of give respondents advance notice. And so what we have started doing is, unless it's for something, for example, deployment, which what happened a couple months ago, which.
Well, I mean, we were supposed to have had a formal this last Thursday, wasn't it, or yesterday?
Yeah.
And it got continued. So I said this years ago, we need to schedule out a third day. I mean, this is the reality we're in. You're gonna have more and more of this, folks. And you can't be this commission and this Commerce and Insurance has gotten by with this for years, but ever since I've been here, you've been 30 plus or more formals behind. And you're going to have to schedule out more days and knock them out.
Commissioner Doggett.
Thank you. Are we bound statutorily by the Thursday, Friday, once a month that we have, or is it just something that's always
pleasure of the body?
Yeah. Because I would ask about that, and maybe the sheriff was talking about the third day, but looking at maybe the first Friday of the month be a formal day dedicated to one of those formal hearings, and then our third Thursday and Friday of the month, we could still have a formal hearing, but we also, if needed, just to help
start clearing some backlogs.
Right, so that we don't, like yesterday, I I don't know the circumstances of what happened, but it was a continuous yesterday afternoon, and if folks had come into town to do that and then and find out that it's been continued or set off for another date, just to give us that extra day that we might have that first Friday of the month and then for a formal hearing and then.
I'd be a little concerned about spreading it over 2 weeks, because one, that's more travel time, I guess, more commutes back and forth to Nashville, same amount of hotel nights for those traveling in. But now it's another week and it's another 3.5, 4 hour drive one way.
Let me throw another option out there as we move the informal to Friday afternoon, which only impacts 3 to 5 people normally. And then the formal is still Thursday.
Well, we've had some, that's the way it was when I started, was Friday formals, and we caught grief over that big time.
Friday informal.
Oh,
Friday
informal.
Friday.
Oh, yeah,
Or only
I'm sorry.
a handful of people.
Yeah, you can go through those informals real quick.
So that's an option.
But I'm just saying, you may need to schedule out another week, another day.
I
To
think,
knock these out. I mean, they're not gonna ever get caught up.
I think you're onto something, that if we do add another day, maybe keep it the same week to avoid people having to take multiple trips into Nashville. If they're from out of town, but if
You
we want to add
may
another
be
day,
looking at a Wednesday.
yeah, maybe a Wednesday, or we move the full commission meeting and the informals to Fridays, and then Thursdays are our dedicated formal hearing days. It's entirely up to you guys what you prefer, but we can give staff some guidance so they can start scheduling.
Or night court.
Yeah.
Commissioner Wilbur, I'm just confused why we need to add a third day. Are we talking about only as a formal?
Only as a formal, because
How big is our backlog?
It's better, first of all, but it's just the, probably more set through several, and they could easily have gone into another day. So I think that's kind of where the thought process is to add in a third day. The safety net. But I know when we were composed a little bit differently, when the commission was composed a little bit differently, it was challenged to get a quorum on Thursday. Well, now we're pretty well at full capacity. So Thursday might be more, I would think we would be able to make quorum every Thursday if we decided to have Thursday as a day versus adding an extra day or.
I was just gonna say, Wednesdays, I'm sometimes in court all day, so I would not be here, but if we could still make a quorum, but I just wanted to do that.
Okay, well, Commissioner Green, I'm gonna amend my motion just so we can get something on the table. That we have, after July, that formals are on Thursday. Wednesday's informal moves to after the commission meeting on Friday.
Okay, so if I'm understanding you correctly, Thursday after July, will become a dedicated formal
day.
scheduled day.
Which still meets the separate day that an extra. Our commission meeting goes on, and then after the commission meeting on Friday,
We'll break for
a
lunch.
limited number of people that are on an informal committee can finish that up and not impact the rest of the committee.
And that will just be held after our full commission meeting.
Yes, that's my motion.
That way we don't have to worry about an extra day, but it builds that in. Okay. So we have that motion by Commissioner Green. Does everybody understand? In that amendment, do we have a second?
Wilbur second.
Wilbur second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right, so that's for July, and for Thursday, we have a whole day now. Moving on to public comments. Thank you all for your patience.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Eric Scott, the former Gender Department Instructor for the Hancock County Sheriff's Office. I just want to thank the Post Commission for reopening the decertification process and initiating the investigation of untruthful statements to the Post by former Chief Deputy William Evans of the Hancock County Sheriff's Office. It is unfortunate that Hancock County Sheriff refused to voluntarily cooperate with the initial Post request for the sheriff to testify. The citizens of Hancock County have lost trust in the Hancock County Sheriff's Office over this incident. It is only because of this post-commission's efforts that a way to regain the community trust is possible. If the Hancock County Sheriff provided testimony, evidence could have been presented to decertify the former chief deputy for violations of agency rules and regulations, policies, and procedures to include not summoning medical help, not taking police action when time was of the essence, not taking police action to prevent the threat of serious bodily harm, not or communicating any information which may enable any person to escape arrest, neglect of duty, failing to report known violations of the law, and violating any departmental regulations. Most law enforcement professionals recognize that at least one or more violations would have an aiding and abetting component that apply to criminal law violations that require accountability under a criminal case presentation. At the end of this day, there's still a victim in this case. He is a mother's son, a father's child, a wife's husband, and a father to the children. And that individual's name is Michael Pruitt. He suffered horrible injuries as a result of that assault. Mr. Pruitt continues to suffer from those physical injuries and will have lifelong struggles to recover from those injuries. Trust in the ability to hold anyone accountable was lost as a result of the sheriff not participating in the post-hearing and the untruthful testimony provided to the post-commission by the former chief deputy. The untruthful testimony was traumatizing to members of the victim's family and witnesses to the assault. The potential for the chief deputy to once again become a law enforcement officer in Hancock County caused fear and anxiety in our community. Your actions towards seeking the truth have helped us start restoring community trust in the law enforcement oversight process. Today's investigative findings help to add confidence in the Tennessee Post Commission's commitment to accountability. The family, witnesses.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, commissioners.
I'm Melinda, my mom. I just wanted to express my gratitude that you all have seen this through as far as you have been. The investigator done everything he could, and I feel like you've done a great job. But I just really appreciate you guys for just taking the time to even listen to the little people. Sometimes it goes a long ways and it means a lot more to family. And I've got confidence that everything is going the way it is right now. I just want you to know how much I appreciate it.
Any other public comments? Not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion. Second. Moved in a second. We are adjourned. Okay. Good luck. Great job. Yes.
That right there. Now we got a ABC.
It's in the car and I went to step out.
I'll go live in the rail, you know.
Bye.
Thanks. Running out of here.
The best. His election.
And.
Thank you. Y'all have a good one.
Well, you got.
Yeah, yeah.
Here we are. This may resolve by agreement.
That's the case, I think, when it finds out, but.
Yeah.
If we had. And it was. So.
I was gonna be a short.
He's not running. I gave,
I don't think I've met.
yeah, I gave.
When it's like, thank you for everything. Sometimes. You think it's gonna be. It's my. You got this going on that day.
Right, yeah, yeah. No, I
How many times?
So that's, it's important on this, try.
System.
You don't know if I can not. It will happen. Oh, I'm great. I was really excited because.
We tried.
I'm not.
I plan on this.
Excited for you.
We normally don't get too concerned until it's like that whole late before and people start calling.
Our goal is to have all those done.
I can't make
And
it.
have our strength.
I feel that it's not, he can't come, he can't come, so the anniversary is pretty folks.
Well, it's like, that's my thing about everybody. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
My goals from a like that's hard stuff on your mind. So it's going. It was just like, yeah.
So somebody.
Hey, well, wait, it goes down, share, you can buy her.
It's like we've got a hard brand now.
I don't have to do this anymore.
Has anybody heard of it?
Be like,
I know you have a thing about St. Augustine.
yes, it's done. It's it.
I don't blame Sorry. I Yes.
Yeah.
I guess he's excited, it's really bad. You know, there's been
This is one where
Yes, more things.
two defendants set up a drug deal, who didn't have any money, so they were gonna rob. Well, the drug dealer comes up with his daddy in the car. So the defendant shoots daddy in the car, and daddy is dead. And the drug dealer drives to a house, runs in the house, his dead dad in the car. And the defendant.
And that's like,
Car.
these guys
They go up to a mountain and
over here running.
dead daddy.
I got-
I'm sorry, I'm sure. And then I went, if someone has a video, like, I just apologize, I'm sorry. The female defendant in jail. Right up.